say goodbye to Jack's solo streams because I am officially back. Yay! Woo! I'm back.
Is that why things are randomly broken around here?
I mean, I cannot deny it's...
No! Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means. You have no idea how good that feels. Thank you, even if it's a lie. The fact that you might have gone through the trouble of trying to make myself feel better. Mwah. Thank you. Happy Sunday, welcome and everybody. Hello Dark Lord, congrats on being second. Hello Psycho, congrats on being first. Huzzah! Healthy Tifa and back from her work trip.
Yes, it has been like 2 weeks with the exception of 1 week in between because first I had a cold, then I was on a work trip for a whole week. And now I don't plan any of those things for the next month at least, so I am back. Sorry for all the people who subbed, followed for the Jack solo streams, because they are now gone for a while.
Isn't your next work trip coming up in early December probably?
Yeah, but at least a month.
At least we plan to get through November as we planned. Once Tifa has figured out which horror games she wants to play. Because look and guess who forgot again what she said like months ago to me. What?
Oh, no, that's not true. We have like two lined up.
I selected those.
And I agreed with them.
That works. Yeah.
You can always choose to remain silent. I mean, that is very true.
You do look kind of like the emotional support Togepi I always put in that corner when you're gone. I'm just saying. Wait, you need to do this with your hands? What the
It sort of stays actually.
Yes.
Go back.
You know the way they do like actors' hair when they have a scene where they do like a chemistry experiment or something and something explodes and then they put like some black stuff on their face to show you the pff, and the hair goes like... That's what your hair just looked like. Anyway, do this. Do this, Tifa. There. It's the... It's the 3 Togepi prongs. You know, the ones that make it smash. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch our Pokemon Generation 2 Smash or Pass video. Shameless self-plug on my own channel. Tifa, it feels good to have you back. I've missed you.
It has been a while.
Yes, it's been too long. It's been like, what, 6 months?
It feels like it, honestly.
Yeah, I've missed you. Please don't do this again.
It's basically been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I want to say it's been... Yes, 2 weeks. The first week was accidental because you got sick. The second week was not accidental because you were away.
Yeah.
Guess who started coughing and sniffling again when she came back home?
Not coughing, but a lot of sniffling. Like on my train ride back. I don't know what, but someone opened the floods of my nose.
What? Was it Jack? No. No, I don't make people sick on purpose. It just happens.
It was a water trail constantly. Then on Saturday it kept going. And today it actually is a bit better.
I can attest to that because yesterday I was like, if you make me cancel one more Higurashi stream, I'm gonna cancel you, Tifa. I'm gonna get a voice changer and I'm gonna do all the voices myself. I don't care. But she pulled through, here she is.
Exactly.
Nobody can do the voices of Satoko and Shumion like you do, so...
I'm not even sure exactly where we are, but I'm sure you'll remind me in the recap.
I will, because unlike you, I take it I went through the trouble of doing my homework and I quickly skimmed through our last Higurashi stream. That's the nervous chuckle you get when Tifa is not prepared to do the recap. But we'll get there.
I was actually planning on doing it before the stream, but my phone was empty, so I had to charge it and then I ran out of time.
You don't need your phone to stream. Priorities, Tifa.
No, but I need to look at the previous stream, which is probably not even in the saved videos anymore.
Tifa, we are surrounded by 3 computers that we use for streams. That's how bad we are at things. And a tablet, and another tablet. You had 5 different devices.
They weren't in the same room.
Where were you?
The living room.
I'm throwing you bones and you keep not picking them up.
I'm sure Jack will get to me in the recap.
Hey, they're really far away though.
Our apartment is huge. It takes like hours to walk.
I mean, Tifa's arms are really short. It's like a T-Rex, kind of like this, you know? This works really well on camera. Like, from your perspective, you can see my arms, but like this, it looks like... Now I look like Trump. Okay, I will stop doing that. Tifa, how was your work trip?
It was really good, actually. It was a really nice trip. The only shitty thing is I went with my boss this time, or with one of my bosses, to visit my other boss who's at a different location.
Not visit. Go there for work. They work in different locations. It wasn't like a... Hello, Grandma. I walked through the woods and I got this basket of cake, bread and wine for you.
Like, I have two bosses. One is with me in the building, the other one is on the other side of the country. We decided to go there. Plus, we also planned our team event with the other people on the other side of the country in that week. So that was kind of the main thing. The not shitty, but kind of funny thing was, though, we decided to try out a different hotel than where we stayed last time.
Mm-hmm.
And we just booked it based off of reviews on like booking.com and stuff. And we were like, okay, this one looks kind of good. So we went for it. And they had like business rooms and deluxe comfort rooms, which were within our budget. So we were like, oh, which ones do we pick? And then we were like, okay, you know what we're gonna get each of those two rooms and then see what is better. So my boss went for the business one. I took the
deluxe comfort room.
Deluxe comfort room. And only after we booked and it was too late to still cancel, we learned that this hotel is mainly used for like one night stands and stuff, which I have found out.
And Tifa told me this while she checks in. He's like, hey Jack, I've arrived. I went to a hotel that is in the reviews known for the quality of accommodations for one night stands. And I'm like, is there something you wanted to tell me before the trip or after? Because this timing seems weird. Like,
most hotels were staying for one night.
Psycho, I appreciate the sweet naivete of your thinking. Yes, bonk.
You have a point, but I go into my room and all I see is red. I kid you not, the lights, everything is just red.
If you've ever seen, if you've ever worked in like analog photography, you know those rooms where they develop the pictures in? Or if you've seen those in like movies or shows, we FaceTimed, we video called. It was purely red. Like, you either see this if you develop photos and a dark room. Okay, I know dark room from a different meaning. I didn't know they use the same term for photography. Thank you for teaching me today, Dark Lord. It looked like either she was in a dark room of some kind, or in an underground military installation bunker kind of thing, and somebody pulled the alarm. A little bit lighter, but still, with like the redness.
Not you. And I was like, usually these lights have like a remote, right?
Or like
to like
a dimmer,
change the
to
color.
Like change it to neutral, natural, maybe like RGB, like with computers and stuff, where it's like blue, purple, orange.
So I searched the room, there's no remote. I'm stuck with the red light.
With a pawn light.
I'm like, fine, you know what, whatever. No problem. My boss doesn't have the porn lights going on. He just has normal light,
normal people light for normal people rooms.
His room also looked a bit more like the pictures, unlike mine that looked nothing like the pictures that were...
Tifa's bed was heart-shaped for some reason. There was a mirror above the bed.
There wasn't, by the way. But
there was a really weird, kind of like a swing set, like stuck to the wall. But also like a gynecologist's chair. It was really weird from the pictures she showed me.
The first night was kind of rough because I guess there was a lot of traffic. Like, my neighbors were busy, let's just keep it at that. So I didn't have a lot of sleep.
They made appropriate use of the amenities.
The furniture all keeps groaning,
Yes.
basically, yeah.
Imagine if you had a black light in that room.
I don't want to, But fortunately for me, that was only the first night.
Okay.
After that, it kind of calmed down and I could get a little bit more sleep. For my boss, it started around the second night. He was like, oh, it sounded like people kept moving chairs all night. I mean, that's great.
They did.
But none of the rooms have chairs, so it definitely wasn't the chairs.
Have you ever heard of a move called the wheelbarrow?
But yeah, we're not going to that hotel again, but it was a fun experience. I had to listen to a lot of jokes about my live streams, cameras being on.
Not from me, actually.
No, not from you, surprisingly.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's been a fun week. Next time we go to a different hotel.
A normal one. For people who just stay for business or because they're traveling. Not because they want to make it big on adult websites.
Yeah. It was fun. But the week itself was really nice. For our team event, we went laser tag. And I've never done it, and at first I was like, no pain, no gain, Like I've done paintball before and I really loved it, even though I came out black and blue. And I was like, laser tag, that's gotta be like the meh version, like not as fun.
Because nothing hurts you, right? Because lasers
it's part of the fun.
just light.
Like you better dodge or it hurts, you know what I mean?
Tifa really appreciates mostly the pain part of paintball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I gotta
It's
say,
not fun if nobody's crying.
basically, no. But I gotta say, laser tag was quite a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed it. So we did like 4 rounds in total, and starting the second round, the staff told us that we're gonna play against professional players. And then these like 12, 13-year-olds come in, and he's like, oh, he's joking.
Well,
And these kids actually play on a professional level. These little high schoolers were actual pros, and they destroyed us.
did we run through there like doing parkour moves and like jumping, like running on the walls, doing like backflips?
It felt like it, but no, where we were all like ducking, running, trying to dodge things and be all cool and stuff. These kids just casually walked through the room, managed to not get hit, but shoot all of us. Basically, every kill, so every time you shoot someone you make, it's like 100 points, and most of the people in my team averaged between 5,000 and 8,000 points.
Okay.
These kids were between 50 and 70,000 points. And we only play for 15 minutes a round. Which
Okay.
means that's like over 20 kills a second, 20 kills a minute these guys make.
I have a question for you. On a meta level, I know plenty of theme parks have those rides. I only really know the one from Disneyland Paris because that's like my favorite ride there.
The Buzz Lightyear one, yeah, that one is fun.
I know there was one like this in Legoland in Denmark as well when we went with this like Egyptian pharaoh thing. If you've never been to any of these places or you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll try to explain it. You sit in this little capsule gondola kind of thing, right? And it's on rails, like Star Fox. And you get this like laser light gun thing. And it's wired into the capsule. So you have a control stick which you can turn around left and right, you can rotate around your own axis. And the point is to shoot these reflector thingies. And every time you do, if you hit it, it registers a hit and you get a certain amount of points. The first few times we've done this, I didn't just have a higher score than Tifa. I wouldn't say I won against Tifa in terms of score. I obliterated her. Like if
the marks were really small.
We shot the same ones.
Laser tag, they're bigger at least.
If Tifa managed, I think the first time, I need to look up a picture, I have him somewhere on my phone, I think. I think the first round, Tifa managed like 5,000 points, I was at like 60,000. Something like this.
Yeah, but at this point, it's different.
But I'm trying to get to the why this is important. I think the main difference is because I've played so many of these like shooting gallery games as a kid. I tried to shoot one of the reflective thingies once and I realized there is very little in terms of iframes. You can keep shooting the same targets repeatedly after like half a second timer goes off internally. So what I would do is I would aim at something and I would just like click, 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 click. I would move along against the right and just keep hitting the same target. So if Tifa goes pew, pew,
Yeah, you can't do that in laser tag.
Okay, so you
because
do have
if you shoot
more
someone,
invulnerability there.
If you get shot, your suit gets deactivated for a couple of seconds.
How long?
Like 5.
Okay, so the frame, the time window in between being able to score off of the same target is lower because there's more. I cannot shoot the same target again for more time.
Yeah.
Okay. Guy, you sucked.
Yeah, we really did. And funnily enough, I usually play second or third in our teams when it came to score.
Second or turf?
Or third. Like didn't even suck the most, but these kids were brutal.
Never underestimate teenagers' reflexes.
No mercy, I kid you not. And they walked like they were in Call of Duty.
Yeah, they basically were.
Yeah, they really were.
This is like Fortnite all over again.
So I take back everything I have said about laser tag. It was actually a lot of fun. I would recommend it.
Did you hurt yourself?
I did actually.
How? It's light. It goes...
Yeah, but I fell once.
Did you at least do a cool fall over somebody or over something? Or did you just trip over your own feet?
No, I tripped going up a ramp. And funnily enough, my boss fell down one of those ramps too, because you play in a dark room with some lights here and there.
Okay, yeah.
And he fell down, and I heard like a cry when he went down. So I was like, okay, you know what, peace.
Time out, time out.
I'll come and help him, and the fucker just shoots me.
I mean, to be fair, it's the right thing to do. He already fell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you cannot undo the fact that they fell and hurt themselves.
No,
maybe, I don't know. I guess I would hurt myself. So you might as well at least get some points out of it.
Yeah, I suppose. But after the first round, I was like, 15 minutes, also a bit short. And then you have a 15-minute break before the next one starts. I'm like, that's a bit short and the break is too long. I was so beat after the first 15 minutes.
If you keep running around trying to not get shot, trust me, 15 minutes is an eternity.
The running,
I've never been.
The ducking, the getting up, the ducking more. Like my knees were like done.
And now imagine if you had gone and if we didn't start going to the gym this summer. You'd be even deader.
Yeah, I absolutely could have used it. But yeah, if you get the chance, I would absolutely recommend doing it because it was much more fun than I thought.
Better or not as cool as paintball. Paintball. Paintball is the advanced version of paintball. Now, what do you recommend more, paintball or laser tag?
I like paintball more still.
Because it hurts more?
It's a whole different sort of...
You didn't say no.
Fun. I also like the pain aspect a bit more, like fair is fair.
If in laser tag you would actually shoot laser beams, scorching your enemies.
Oh, if you get like a little shock when you get hit, that would actually be kind of cool. Maybe someone should invent that if it doesn't exist yet.
That sounds illegal.
Yeah, it probably does.
I'm pretty sure people would unfortunately die in the process of playing.
No, but I remember with like paintball, I think it's hard to compare because of the different memories associated with it. The one time I played paintball, that was like 8 years ago, I think. And we had like this event with the entire international call center because we were the best with our numbers and stuff. So we went with everyone and we were with like 50 people or so back then.
So the Fortnite IRL.
Yeah, and we played on these outside fields, which were like huge, and you had these team bays, you could climb on things, hide, snipe. It was a very different sort of experience. And with laser tag, because we weren't with that many people, like 9, I believe in total. You also play with randoms, like with the pro players. And our first round we played with a family with little kids.
Oh no, I would feel so bad shooting the little girl, like
Pew pew pew. They were twins and they were celebrating their 8th birthday.
aww.
And those fuckers were like so hard because they are so small and you don't
Do they get
look,
smaller like vests?
you
to make
don't
them
look
smaller
down
targets?
that much.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And they do like this team tag thing, like one runs, distracts you, and then the other one shoots you from behind. It was brilliant, but still, regardless.
Sounds evil.
But both were a lot of fun. But I think I prefer paintball a little bit more.
Alright, because you can also see the damage you've done.
And that too.
You can celebrate the hit.
Yeah. You don't see that in laser tag besides the score.
Do they tell you the score after or during the round already? Do you get like a cool like display where you can see, oh my god, I think I'm leading by the score? Or is it like afterwards they tell you Tifa has achieved 6,900 points?
No,
Nice.
you can see your score on your gun.
Okay, so it's very
During
video
laser tag.
gamey.
But you don't see, exactly, you don't see the team score.
Okay.
Even though sometimes you'll hear, hey, you're now 2nd place.
Ultra kill! Tifa drew first blood!
And
Something
then
like that.
after, when you leave the laser tag room, you see like the screen with the score of everyone, where you place, how your team did. And in paintball, it's more like if you get hit, you drop off of the field.
Yeah, Battle Royale style.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit different. I like both.
Fair enough.
But paintball I can never do anymore because
You need a whole bunch of people for that.
you need more people.
I can throw paint at you.
Yeah, we
Just the round is over really quickly. Like, I win.
like we don't have enough friends to do paintball.
Somebody send us 50 people, please. 62, then we can make it 64 like video gaming.
Yeah, but with laser tag, that's not a problem because you just go in with others.
Yeah, fair enough. I also have one of those at Universal Studios, but it's Men in Black themed. Ooh, that sounds really cool.
Oh, that also sounds really cool.
Did they make it Men in Black themed, like based around... Did they do like a set piece from the first movie where... I forgot his name in the movie, but the guy played by Will Smith, where they have this like shoot in the dark gallery thing, where spoilers for the movie Men in Black from the late 90s, I believe.
Late 90s?
Late 90s.
Not
It's
2000s?
the whole shooting range generally. That's so awesome. Yeah, that thing where they, he and some other people that were invited to apply to become Men in Black have to do like this whole test thing. And then after the theoretical part, they need to go into this like super dark room and they get a gun and they have to shoot targets. And Will Smith doesn't shoot anything or anybody the entire round, and just like last half a second of the entire thing, he shoots a little girl.
the little girl.
Yeah, and then
What
he goes
was the
like,
reasoning? Because she's too calm or something?
yeah, like there's a monster hanging from the lights and it's like, wow, this guy is sneezing because he's holding like a piece of paper or something. He's just blowing his nose. Nothing wrong with that. The other one is just like holding something. He's shopping. But this little girl looks like she's 8 and she's got like these books on quantum mechanics and stuff. Like, that's weird. She's got advanced textbooks for a girl age. Exactly. Which...
No, she could have just been the next Albert Einstein, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but the way he does it, I'm no Will Smith type of person, so I don't have the natural charisma to sell you on this point. But the way he does it, it works. I believed him. It made sense to me.
Yeah.
There we go.
But those rides are kind of fun. Take the Buzz Lightyear one back then. We did like 6 times in a row.
4 times in one day, because we were basically alone in the park back then. Yeah. Before the pandemic, we got super lucky. We did the whole Disneyland thing in 4 hours flat, including walking around. We didn't have to wait anywhere.
Yeah, it was kind of disappointing.
In hindsight, it was awesome.
It's awesome that you don't have any waiting lines
Yes.
in a theme park, I agree. But it's kind of disappointing because I didn't realize how small the park is.
Yeah, because if there is no waiting times, you realize how actually not big the park is.
Yeah, but the Efteling.
Tifa
and here
propaganda
I come
incoming.
with my Dutch propaganda. You're not through that fast. And the park is in a better state. The rides look nicer, fair is fair. Like this Disneyland Paris is like... I don't know, it feels a bit like the forgotten child of Disney if you compare it to the other parks.
I don't know. I've only really been to that one as an adult, and now Legoland this May, which was fine too. I haven't been to the Efteling and like other bigger parks in 20 years, so I couldn't tell you.
No, but if you like compare especially Disneyland to the other Disneyland parks.
Which we haven't been to.
We haven't
only
been
know
to,
of stories.
But you can look enough online to see the difference.
I learned it's not the same. It's not the same.
The parks are not the same, or the...
No, it's like I never believed when people told me there is a difference between listening to your favorite musicians on a CD, on a studio album, on a live album, whatever, and watching them play live. And I still never really had that with a live concert. I just don't. I'm sorry, I never had that wow moment happen for me. But going to Disneyland in Paris, I realized what that feels like. Because I was so hyped going there. I've looked at the pictures, I've seen documentaries, I've read people's blogs about this. Yeah,
like we're from Disneyland or Disney World.
My mind had been in Disneyland for a year before we went, basically. And then you get there and when you realize, yeah, no, it's a theme park. They put a lot of effort and money into this, but it's still just a theme park. So all the things you would expect to be happening in a theme park are happening here too. So, sometimes stuff breaks, sometimes stuff looks a bit run down, that's why they do maintenance and stuff. And sometimes you can tell that there's lots of kids running around because it looks a bit like it got bumped into a bunch.
But regardless, if you're in a theme park, the nicest thing is when you're done with a ride and you can immediately go again.
Which we did a bunch of times.
Yeah. We were lucky when it came to that.
Yeah, it was not efficient of us. It was just sheer luck that we picked. I can recommend middle of September. We went in the second week of September during the week because we got the week off. And there was nobody else there. I mean, there were other people, but like I said, I think the longest line we ever stood in was 15 minutes.
For the roller coaster ride,
Thunder Mountain?
Something like
Thunder
that.
Mesa? One without loopings.
No, that ride was like half an hour when we went the second time.
Was it?
Yeah, the rest was pretty empty though.
The Buzz Lightyear one, we went 2 times in a row. We went out, we went back in, we walked through, we sat down, we did it again.
There was absolutely no one, so I asked if we are just allowed to keep sitting, but that's not allowed. You have to get out, go through the line again. Oh yeah, that's fine.
If you think about it, it makes sense. What if there's a group of people coming in through one of the tunnels that you can't directly look into?
Yeah,
I mean, first come, first serve, line up again.
It was fun, but that's how empty it was.
Imagine having a park for yourself. We kind of had the rich people experience.
Timing.
We just paid normal admission. Actually, we found a deal. It was not even full price. Other people have to pay thousands for it.
It was really
blessed.
And I think it was like a Tuesday or something, because there's one day during the week where the French have
Tuesday,
half a day of school.
Yeah.
And I think Tuesday back then was the perfect day. So nice.
If you can plan your trips to parks around when it's not school vacations, which is super helpful for everybody that has kids and has to go during school vacations, But if you don't, and you want to go to a theme park, do what we did. Smarter. Poor people ruining everything as usual. And this is when we learned that Honest Psycho is actually the account of Jeff Bezos. I know, right? What are you eating, drinking?
A ginger tea with lemon and honey.
Oh, to prepare ourselves for not getting sick.
That makes sense. I'm not sure why my nose is running the way it is.
Real quick, I fucking wish, don't we all? I ranted about this on Discord, but I just want to put this out there. I don't want to jinx anything. I just want to mentally prepare everybody. Yeah, no.
Positive things first. Or we can end with the positive.
What's the positive thing?
No, we can end with the positive.
Short version, because the long one is on Discord. We went for breakfast yesterday, my treat, because finally Tifa's back from her trip. I missed her. So we went to this really fancy place. We sit down, the drinks come, cool. And then the table next to us, we have like a little party. Somebody decorated the table.
Yeah,
Super
it was
nice.
someone's birthday. Oh, that looks so nice.
3 out of the 4 people that they set the table for arrive, and it's like this family, I guess, couple in the, like, I want to say 50s with one of their daughters, I assume. And the fourth place is also set up, but there is no person yet, so I'm thinking whatever, like, doesn't matter, right?
Directly next to me with a small space in between.
2 minutes later, this lady shows up, looks to be in her 20s, and I can tell when she walks in she doesn't look well. You know, it's the puffed up like eyes, like you didn't get a lot of sleep, you put on makeup to like try to not look sick. And like, this isn't supposed to be disrespectful to her looks, but my gut told me, this person is sick. But I thought, hey, if somebody is sick, they wouldn't come to this place, right? Not just this place in particular, you wouldn't do that, right? You would want to have a good time, especially because it's a bit more on the expensive side. You wouldn't want the food to be wasted because you can't taste anything or because you don't feel well. Plus, you're here with your family, you would just ask them, hey, sorry, I don't feel well, I shouldn't come along, can you just like take something along for me? Unless, of course, you're a self-centered cunt. Sorry I said that, actually not sorry. So she sits down and she immediately starts coughing.
In my direction, basically.
In ours.
To turn away from her family, she coughs at us.
Yeah.
Constantly.
And I'm like, you know.
And I was sitting there like, okay, I'm just gonna take this, but I already saw Jack boiling in his seat.
I start sweating because inside I'm a mix of anger and anxious. You know, like, why are you doing this? And also, why am I not doing anything? Because I should have said something earlier. And I sit and I just take it because I know I can just get up and ask the waiter, hey, do you have another table somewhere else? Because no, but I don't, because I'm a pushover. And I'm thinking to myself, like, there's this little stupid voice in the back of my head, like, it's fine. You know, maybe this person is recovering. They sound sicker than they are. Clearly they can't be infectious because nobody in their right mind would then come to this place, right? She keeps coughing, she starts sneezing, she starts blowing her nose loudly, and the food comes and I try to focus on eating. Tifa is having conversations with me. I cannot focus because this bitch keeps fucking coughing everywhere. So I said nothing, but I was as riled up and as red in the face as I feel like I am right now. So eventually I like semi-explode internally. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk to the waiter. And I still have the restraint to not call him over and go like, can you replace this person? I get up, I go over there, I'm like, sorry, do you have one? He's like, yeah, sure, what is it? I'm like, I'm terribly sorry to be doing this, but the person on the table next to us is coughing up a storm and I'm feeling really, really not good about this. Do you have any other table anywhere? Anywhere? It's like, yeah, we're kind of fully booked, but let me talk to somebody. 30 seconds later, comes back, he's like, yeah, we've got a table over there. I'm like, thank you. He's like, all the food, all the drinks were there already. So he's like, let me get the food. And I'm like, let's help too. So we like tried to scurry through the entire cafe with our stuff, sat down. If I caught anything and if we have to cancel streams last second next week, it's because that...
We can trace it to that moment.
Incredibly selfish person, I want to curse less. This incredibly selfish person coughed at me for like 15 minutes.
But the rest of the thing was really nice.
After I could focus on the moment and I could actually, you know, realize that I was tasting food, it was nice, yes. It was wonderful. Moral of the story, if you're in a situation like this, don't let any part of you hold you back. You're not creating a scene. This person is. I'm not saying pick a fight because there's no point, but...
You didn't say anything to those people.
I really wanted to. I really wanted to. I really wanted to fight them. I was about to throw hands.
I'm really proud of you.
No, but just just do what I did in the end, but do it sooner. You know, before the food comes. Just because it's logistically easier if you just move with your drink. You know, just go to the waiter or waitress and go like, hey, can we move, please? I'm begging you, please don't let me die. Maybe without the last part and the tears in your eyes, but I was about to start crying when I told him.
You did very well.
And I don't even know why. Like, it just made me really anxious.
It's the awkward emotions.
Yeah, but if you think about it, because during the Gothic streams, especially the last few ones, I was telling all of you stories, like cringy stories from my youth. And with a lot of them, in hindsight, we all agreed, like, it wasn't you, Jack. It was weird, the situation was, and other people did weird things, and maybe you could have acted better, but, you know, it happens. I think this is one of those moments, and I need you to remind me, and myself to tell myself, it's okay. You don't need to, like, sit through a shitty situation just because you don't want to point out that there's a shitty situation. There you go, that's the end of the stream. For morals over for today. Bye! No.
Now, before we go into the recap, positive thing ending first.
Sorry.
There's been enough complaining.
Sorry.
I ordered my early birthday gift this week, and it is awesome.
Wait, if you all want to take a second and guess what it is that Tifa wanted so badly for Christmas? Is it your Christmas? Her birthday. Drum roll. It's not until December, don't worry. Gute Geburtstag. It's really sweet. But her birthday isn't until the middle of December, don't worry. You didn't miss anything. She just saw one being on sale, so she told me, I want it now. Like, go ahead.
It might not be on sale later.
Tifa saw something online and she went like, I need this.
And it's nothing weird, it's nothing odd. It's a weighted blanket. Like the easiest thing, a weighted blanket. And I was looking... It's a fucking air fryer.
A second one. Yes, now we have two. Now we can air fry while we air fry. Yeah!
A buddy for...
Yes, the one was lonely.
For Philip in the kitchen.
I was gonna say Monomi. That would have been adorable.
That would have been adorable, but it's a weighted blanket. And I was looking at the ones that were around like 9 kilos. And Jack was...
6 kilos.
No, I was looking at 9. Jack was like, I was like, oh, is this going to be too heavy? Or should I go a bit lighter or not? And Jack was like, 9. That's the weight of the entire blanket. And that's nothing.
That's what I was thinking.
It's way too light. So I'm like, you might have a point. I do want it a bit heavier. So I go heavier.
Tifa ordered the heaviest weighted blanket that they had.
It's 13 kilos. And that doesn't seem like...
It's almost 20 pounds, Americans. Thank you for doing the math. I was about to.
I think 13, that's 9, I believe. 13
libs to kilos.
Kilos to lips is 28 pounds.
28.66 pounds. Almost 30 pounds of blanket.
Let's go with 29 pounds to... So now I bought one, listening to Jack, of 29 pounds. And this thing is the heaviest thing ever. Like, I can lift 29 pounds. I can lift that in the gym at least. Like, I know I can do that. I can barely lift this blanket.
I do think that the article description was lying, because for all of them, the way it presented itself, to me at least, was that's the weight of the whole blanket. I'm not saying 29 pounds isn't nothing, but 29 pounds over a whole big blanket is doable. Like, the weight to like mass ratio is not that bad. But apparently they meant like 29 pounds per like square inch, because this thing weighs what I think a hippo would weigh.
Like, I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm still going to try it. So I like cut it open, even though...
The box, not the blanket.
No, the blanket was also attached with the security rope.
Okay.
So I cut it off, maybe I shouldn't. And I put a cover on it and I lay on the couch with it. And I can barely lift my legs.
You're weak.
trying to like lift my legs over one another. You have to turn this entire thing.
So you can work out while turning in your sleep.
I kid you not. I am going to sleep on it starting tomorrow, probably, because at the moment we're camping in the living room on our airbed.
What Tifa calls camping. There's no specific reason why we're doing this. She just finds it really fun.
Yeah, we had these conversations before. I really enjoy just blowing up the airbed in the living room in front of the TV, watching a movie, and it feels like camping. So this weekend we're camping. And I feel like if I put the weighted blanket on that, the entire bed that night is just gonna go.
It's gonna implode.
So I'm gonna wait until we're actually sleeping in our bed again. And starting next month, I kid you not, like take a screenshot. That was your moment. These are going to be guns. I am going to sit here like The Rock after sleeping under that blanket every day.
So after sleeping under it for a month, you're gonna turn bald, have some arguably pretty cool tattoos, but you're actually kind of a douchebag and you're gonna ask people to donate money when you are actually almost a billionaire?
No, I kid you not.
Please
that
don't.
is going to be a massive workout because turning and moving under that blanket is so much effort.
And here's the thing why I didn't want to buy her one, because I felt hurt. Because I told her, you don't need a weighted blanket. I'm your weighted blanket. Like, why don't I just lay on top of you when we sleep? Not even in a kinky way, just like, I'll sleep on top of you. I can do that. I would do it for you, Tifa. She's like, no, it's not the same. I want a heavy blanket. So she bought one and now she's gonna get really buff in her sleep.
Yeah. I think I could have done with a couple of pounds /
Go big
kilos
or go home.
lighter.
Go big or go home.
So now I'll get crushed in my sleep.
Made of depleted lead Mäuse. Where do the mice come in? Because that's what that means. I've never heard of a lead mice or mouse.
But a weighted blanket is so nice.
I don't love it.
Like you immediately
I've laid under
feel...
it, it's not great.
Yeah, because it's a bit too heavy.
Unlike you, I can lift the thing.
But for the longest time at night when I was younger, I used to sleep with a pillow on top of my head, like a heavier one, because I really like the pressure. And it's the same with a weighted blanket.
This stream will look slightly weird to the uninitiated, but I'm just trying to make Tifa more comfortable for all of us. So this is nice to you.
Of a blanket.
I am the jealous type, yeah. Yeah, and I admit that proudly.
No, but
I'm jealous of Tifa's family. When she goes like, I was thinking of maybe going to the Netherlands to spend a week with my family. I'm like, what about me? When Tifa's like, but you're working. I was thinking of going by myself. I'm like, why don't you love me anymore? Unironically, that's one of my toxic traits.
No, but especially if you have trouble sleeping or falling asleep, a weighted blanket has a lot of benefits for that.
By just crushing your chest so that you can't breathe and when you pass out?
Yeah, because this one might be a little bit too heavy. Like, it should be half of the weight.
You just need to be twice as strong.
But then you made me doubt. Like, I was going for the lighter one, or the slightly heavier one already.
Reminder, she could have just ordered a new one. Like,
yeah, no, that doesn't feel... Then I feel bad because I already cut open the security thing of the blanket.
Why would you do that?
Because I wanted to try it. Like, it was all folded up and you can't unfold it without getting the security.
And I'm pretty sure you can still send it back after you did that.
I can still send it back, but now I feel bad because now it's not new anymore.
Jack just secretly wanted a stronger Tifa. Listen, if she suddenly has abs, I'm not gonna be complaining.
So yeah, in a month we will probably see a difference, not from me going to the gym, but from my blanket, from sleeping.
If Tifa wasn't just my waifu, but also became my waifu, I would not mind. I'd be okay with that. That's a term people use, I don't know if you're aware. Like whey, the stuff that you consume to like have protein and muscle mass gain.
Whatever.
Google it, but if you Google it, I recommend having safe search on. Just saying, some people go from 0 to 100 really quick when they post pictures tagged with that term.
Yeah, tomorrow, first thing I'm gonna do is stand on the scale And add the blanket to it, just to see how heavy the blanket actually is. Because that thing in total has to be way
6,000 pounds.
Way over 30 pounds.
9,001 pounds to be exact.
And then I'll start documenting results. I'm telling you, that blanket is definitely going to make
That's going to be the breakthrough you needed on your fitness journey.
Yeah.
You know what the breakthrough is that I needed, Tifa? You, after 2 weeks, going in raw with a recap. Tifa, what has happened the last time we played Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 3 Tatarigoroshi?
That is actually a really good question, because I have some... Actually, I think that was the last stream. Keiichi, it was the night of the...
How about we try ventriloquism? I'm gonna put my hand here.
I don't know, Keiichi went through with the murder of Satoko's uncle. And
So, last time I'm moving my hand so she can't lick it. Last time we played Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 3 Tatarigoroshi. Keiichi actually went through the process of eliminating Teppei Hojo, Satoko's evil uncle.
Isn't that exactly what I said?
He actually went and did it. And we went through his whole day. He kind of slept in.
Yay! Murder!
Murder! Why 3 hands? I mean, why not, right?
One is Teppei's.
Yay! He kind of just chilled for most of the day because, you know, the Watanagashi festival is at the end of the day, telling his family he's going to go to the festival. And then he went and he had set it up so that the metal bat would be hidden under one of the construction cars outside of a school building where he broke in to get it the day before. He set up a place, he dug a hole outside in the forest nearby where he thought Teppei would drive through, all this stuff. And then the night actually came, and essentially what we've experienced was Keiichi going through doing all of the things like getting the metal bat, going to the place, placing a call from the school building, telling Teppei, yeah, it's the police, the girl's done something. And Teppei going like, which way is it to the police station? And Keiichi like, It all kind of happened in the end, and yes, he did see Teppei coming down the road on his motorbike, he did jump him, he hunted him like an animal, just smashing at him through the jungle, eventually killing him by caving in his skull.
Where we have learned that he's pretty weak because he must have hit him like 50 times and he still could keep running.
Which I think wasn't because Keiichi is weak, but because he was playing with his prey. You know, you can choose not to hit hard enough to kill, only to injure. Sometimes people get that wrong, that's when accidents happen. But, you know, you can try to not kill somebody with hitting them. That's not the point. Every other step on his journey of becoming a murderer was like a comedy of errors. So like, on his way from school, after having placed the call to get back to the forest, he went past people. When he eventually realized, he came back to his senses. I was like, oh no, I've killed Teppei. He stopped spasming on the ground because, you know, head caved in. Keiichi like comes back to his senses a little bit and like checks around, and he's like, oh shit, I'm actually right next to like the main street here leading out of a city.
We went through half the forest basically to get to the other end.
Keiichi has hidden the body, he has gotten rid of a motorbike eventually by riding it through the town or through the forest part at least, and like really revving it up to shoot into Onigafuchi, the swamp.
Which didn't make sense, but okay.
Again, going past other people.
It was heavy rain, you could barely see in front of you.
Keiichi has been telling himself, it's fine, they didn't see me because it was raining really hard and either they had umbrellas or they were like covering their heads, so nobody was paying attention to me. But this story, as it happened, very much presented itself as in there are so many things he did less efficiently than he hoped, so many things where people could have seen him. I'm pretty sure he isn't gonna get away with it.
Well, I think the errors are important, so let's quickly go into those with the recap. Basically, he dug a giant hole, but the body was too far from it, so he had to dig another very shallow hole in the pouring rain, in the mud, and dumped him in there. So there's a very high chance he won't even be covered anymore by the time the rain is
because the rain just washes the mud away that is covering him.
Yep. The big hole that he prepared to actually bury him in is still open. He couldn't find the location anymore. And he was too tired. So there's still a giant ass hole in the forest. He lost the shovel that he originally dug the hole with. He went back home to get a second shovel.
He got on his bike, went all the way back home after killing Teppei. He went all the way back home, snuck into the shed, got a light and another shovel, and then went back to the scene of a murder.
Yep. And I think those are the main things right now. And he might be covered in blood, but...
Yes.
That's something else. But I think those are the main mistakes in the forest itself. That are still left behind and could fuck him over later.
Giga Chat, fine, I'll do it myself. I don't think murder is necessarily Giga Chat, but that's how Keiichi thought.
It's the face before the murder.
I agree with that part. Yes, not even talking about the fact that Keiichi learned how to ride a motorbike within like 2 attempts. Because first time he went like, ooh,
in the pouring rain.
And fell off, and then the second time he just did it slower and then it worked. So he's a natural at riding
cobblestones.
Motorbikes. Or wooden path. Like,
I'm not buying it.
I don't know.
And while we were cycling home, we were of course beat as hell, because that takes a lot of physical and mental
Keiichi
effort.
almost passed out multiple times from sheer exhaustion, and it being like 4 a.m. now, I think, at the end.
I'm not sure about the time anymore, but
It's the early morning.
While cycling home, we were in the middle of the road, a car came our way, we didn't feel like we had the strength to cycle to the side. But fortunately for us, we knew the person in the car coming at us. She stopped and it turned out to be...
Yes. I forgot that, Takano.
Good, I forgot her name.
The creepy girlfriend of Mr. Photography, Tomitake-san.
Yes. How nice to see you here.
Yes.
And I think that's where we saved.
Yeah, that's it. See, together we can do a recap.
Even though it's been 2 weeks.
Adrenaline is a hell of a drug, yes.
Absolutely.
Adrenaline can make you do crazy things. Absolutely crazy things. It is Takano-san, now that I can see the game.
Hey, Takano.
Tifa, are you ready to hide the murder of a person?
And for some reason we're now both standing in the pouring rain. Yeah, I'm ready.
It just looks like one. Am I ready? Yes.
Wait, give me this. I was complaining that it was cold earlier, but now I'm really warm.
I told you it's warm in here. Tifa didn't believe me. I'm sitting here in a t-shirt and I'm actually kind of sweating.
These are not flesh sleeves.
Are you sure about that? Tifa's actually wearing like a long sleeve shirt and that's just skin colored.
It was cold earlier.
Takano-san.
Good evening. The moon is very pretty tonight. Maebara-kun?
It was raining far too hard to see the moon. Takano-san unfolded an umbrella and smiled as she spoke. That smile was, for some reason, uncanny, like she'd seen right through me. Out of all the people I could have met, I got the sudden feeling that this was the one I wanted to see the least.
What are you doing out so late? You're soaked and covered in mud. And no umbrella either.
Also,
some brain matter I see on your shirt.
What's that red mud you've got like splattered over your shirt and stuff?
It might be too dark with the mud to see that. What is that? A shovel?
She had come here via car. She wouldn't have known what I was just doing. And yet, She smiled as though she knew everything. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. She always makes that mysterious-looking smile, remember? Don't let her onto anything, lest you dig your own grave.
So now we kill her and put her in the other hole.
Yeah, that's... I mean, if there is no witnesses, because you kill everybody that becomes a witness.
The rumors say you were playing baseball with a golf club. Is that what the shovel's for, too? You're using it as an umbrella?
You know it! We smart, yeah. I should tell a good lie here. If I could just do that, things would work out. When I went with Reina to go digging for treasure at the dam, we forgot this there. This is not the way to the dam, I believe.
And you went to get it in this downpour? I really love that shovel.
It's my favorite.
It's expensive.
I'll use my trusty frying pan as a drying pan. You've heard of air fryer, but what about air dryer? That made more sense in my head, sorry.
Nice try.
When I left my house, I didn't think it would rain, so...
Oh, it's been raining for a while, though. You've been out for quite some time, haven't you?
Well, yes, I was kind of wandering around.
Even so. You came from that direction, didn't you? The dam is in the opposite direction, you know?
How do I remember that? Takano-san was clearly aware that something exceedingly abnormal was happening to me. And as she played her little word game, she was enjoying driving me into a corner. Maybe she had a vague guess just from the situation of what I'd been doing. My timing really sucked. To run into her, of all people, of all the times. At the very end, I could only be frustrated at my terrible luck. I'd done so much and the end was literally right around the corner. So why at the very, very end did I run into her, of all people? What do you do, Keiichi Maebara? You're still holding something that could be a dangerous weapon. Will you silence Takano-san? Is he actually gonna do that? Like... We've talked about this last time, I think, about like Skyrim and other games like it, where it's like...
Kill all the witnesses.
If one of the NPCs sees you commit a crime, you just kill that NPC, right? Like, you just kill your way through the thing and then... no crime. Even if it would be simple to kill Takano-san, dealing with a car sheet coming afterward would be an issue.
The chicken, yes, the chicken is an actual person too in this regard. Or actual witness.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry. If the only reason why you decide you shouldn't be killing somebody is because you cannot get rid of a car they came in, you know you fell off the deep end. I think we've talked about this last time already when he was like, oh yeah, I'll Keiichi was very matter of fact, like, I'll just kill Teppei and then I'll go back to my normal life, like nothing ever happened. That's not how that works, usually.
It's good work.
Most people are changed after they killed, even if it was in self-defense, you know, where everybody that ever hears the story will tell you, no, it's horrible that it happened, but you did the right thing. Even for those people, life changes afterwards.
Nah, it's actually funny you say that, because there's a video going around on TikTok now that is quite disturbing. Quickly go into that. Basically, it's...
How do you always leave... Like, when Tifa... Sorry for the tangent on top of a tangent, but when Tifa adjusts how she sits, she doesn't just do it like this, you know, where you can hear the chair doing sounds and when you sit different. No, Tifa goes like...
No, but it's
she uses the whole room. How?
And some of you might have already seen it, but basically it's like body cam from the police who storms into the house of this woman. And there you go, like, hey, you're under arrest for the suspicion of murder, blah de blah. You're allowed to not say anything. And she's like, oh no, I did it. Like, I did it. I killed them. And then the police apparently looked kind of sad, you know. They just
It's not what...
caught a murderer, and she's
Even
like,
if it's the truth, it's not what you expect.
and she's like super dry, like, hey, smile, you've caught a bad guy today. And it is like so weird to watch this woman, and they go like, okay, is there anything we need to know? Because we will start searching for your parents.
I wanted to... I hope not.
She killed both of her parents. And instead of like trying to deny it or anything, she immediately goes like, oh yeah, my dad, by the way, he's upstairs under my bed. And my mom, that's a bit of a harder story to tell, but I can lead you to my dad first. And then afterwards we can go to my mom, who is wrapped in plastic bags in the bathroom under the sink. But I'll just bring you there and there first. And then later it swaps to...
Mommy comes in just ralphing all over the place. Oh yeah, murder stories, psychopaths. Oh yeah. Hello Mommy, happy Sunday, how are you doing?
And then it swaps to a scene at the police station in the interrogation thing where they're trying to talk about how she killed them. And they're slowly trying to get into it, you know, trying to get the information out of her. But she's immediately like, oh no, I gave him pills. Like, it's insurance fraud, basically. I gave him pills, so he died from that.
Oh, so she was still like collecting the pension checks or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She cashed like $1 million something. But that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, so she's been collecting the checks, living off of the money that her parents would be getting, yeah.
Yeah, but for 5 years, she led a completely normal life with her father dead under her bed. And her mother in the bathroom sink, and nobody noticed a thing.
I don't think this person is sane. I don't.
No.
I'm not a doctor. I wouldn't dare to like try to like say whatever this is. But I think it's fair to assume that this person, their brain or their thinking process isn't the same as most other people's.
No, but it's to go into, like, some people go...
Oh, this is about real people?
It's a real story. It's about how people can still live exactly the same. Like, she was cool as fuck the entire thing.
Yeah, but...
She basically went like, yeah, I didn't think I would get away with this for 5 years. So I was just, you know, expecting this to happen at some point.
And now it just happened. So.
And now it happened, so hey, you know...
Yeah, but...
But nobody noticed, and every time people asked about her parents, she used corona and stuff and their old age as a reason that nobody saw them. Yeah, it's like, for 5 years.
By trying to disprove my point, you're proving my point. Because this person's life hasn't gone back to normal.
But it has for 5 years at least.
Okay. You have a point. Let me rephrase. This person's life never was normal to begin with. Because if you pull that off and you're just like, yeah, now they're dead and I get the money. You're already in a headspace where like, I don't think things that will probably phase you will phase you. You know what I mean?
Don't worry, Mame. No one I know personally. It's probably that one woman you saw on Reddit who killed her parents and lived with their bodies in their house.
Those stories actually happen every now and then that somebody goes, yeah, I killed my pensioner, mother, father, both of them. And then I put them in the freezer and I just collected the checks.
I mean, that happens quite often, yes.
Yeah.
But it's about, you were like, oh, nobody can live normally after doing that. But there are plenty of people who live normally.
Yeah. See, that's a problem with the word normal, because normal doesn't exist to begin with. Fair.
Live on as they have the entire time.
You got me on a technicality, and I will learn from my mistake.
Yeah, but not everyone changes personality and stuff after they have done this murder.
Fair. I want to say, most people that live a life the way you expect will go through a tremendous change after an event such as this. Is that better phrasing? Or do you also have a story about that?
No, that's fine.
So there was this other post on Reddit the other day that I saw. There was a 15-year-old kid from Japan. I think his name was Keiichi Maebara. He killed this guy's aunt and... Anyway, so the reason why he now doesn't want to kill Takano-san is because I couldn't drive a car. It was completely different from a motorbike. But even if a car was there, as long as there was no proof I killed her. Yes, and tonight's downpour, without any prior planning or by coincidence, a hit and a run. As long as I didn't drop any handkerchiefs with my initials on them, they would never know I killed her. A black flame quietly smoldered and raged in the core of my body.
That's a scary look. Did I tease you too much? How about we just say, hey, I'm getting cold, it's late, I need to get going. Like, that's a perfectly valid reason to go right now.
Was he in some way related to this other Japanese girl I've heard of? Enko Junoshima? Yeah, I think the cousin. Yes. Why? In a way, this seems like the perfect storm. Like Chapter 3 Keiichi being the way he is currently, and Takano-san, who seems to have a very strong attraction to the dark and macabre.
I'm just waiting for Tenpei to slide down the hill onto the road at this point. And join the party.
I imagine if he wasn't actually like dead, just mortally injured. So like, in some fucked up way he regains consciousness. I mean, he is still gonna die because, you know, open head wound and stuff. But he like regains consciousness or some sense of it and just instinctively like tries to crawl out for help. And you see this like zombie looking whatever is left of a person just like...
Not unheard of, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway. Happy Spooktober, everybody! Takano-san started to laugh by herself and thankfully stopped talking about it. But the dark clouds in my mind didn't go away.
Leaving that aside, how long are you planning on crawling on the ground with your bike like that? Would you mind moving out of the way?
Didn't you just almost hit us with your car?
Yeah, because we are on the middle of the road and did not move.
Tifa, the first trick to insurance fraud is to never admit fault.
Like, that's the reason she stopped, because we did not move to the side. I specifically remember that. He was like, oh, I'm too tired.
For legal purposes, I made a joke.
I'm too tired to even...
Yeah. He was passing out like...
Yeah.
If I moved, she would leave. So I tried to get the bicycle up and out of the way, but then twisted my ankle in it and fell over. Ah, ow! Shit! Ah! Ah! That was a sharp pain in the ankle I twisted. This is nonsense. A sprained ankle? Now?
Oh my. Are you alright?
Good thing she's a nurse.
Did you twist your ankle?
Takano-san squats down and takes a good look at... Takano-san squats down and takes a good look at the ankle I keep rubbing. She compares it to my facial expression, apparently trying to gauge how bad the wound was.
Can you stand?
I didn't expect to, but I couldn't even stand up. It was all I could do to shamelessly wriggle on the ground like a caterpillar. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to imagine the wiggle.
Like you're trying to get up and the same it's like, eh. Karma. Takano-san looked at her watch, then at her car, and after thinking for a moment, opened the passenger seat door. And then gave me her shoulder to stand up with.
I'll take you home. I do feel bad since it's almost like I hit you.
I'm sorry.
How many mistakes did we have? 3? Because now we're adding 4.
No.
Putting blood
No.
traces into her car.
No. At this point, the amount of errors in our planning to get away with a murder of Teppei is yes. There is no amount anymore.
I mean, it's our first murder, I guess, so...
We'll do it better with the next one.
I wouldn't just leave you there. It's a good thing, I'm a nice person. And then she kills us, that's the end.
Nobody good has ever called themselves a nice person. That would have been a terrible thing to say to someone holding me up like this. I took Takano's hands and sat down in the passenger seat. Takano-san went around the back and looked at my bike on the ground.
I don't suppose we could take the bicycle home tomorrow?
I could clearly tell from her face that she thought it would be a pain since it would be heavy and would get her car dirty. But my bike has the name Maebara written on it. I couldn't leave it out here like this. Well, can you somehow put it in the car? I sort of need it.
The trunk's already full. If I put it in the back seat, it will get the seats dirty with mud. Well, given how you're already in here, it's already dirty, I suppose.
The mud won't be your biggest problem, lady. I turn to the back seat and see someone's folding bicycle there already. It still looked big enough to fit my bike in there as well. My expression reflected my thoughts, and the exact thoughts seemed to get through to her.
Alright. I'll put it in here for you. I'll be really nice, but just for tonight, okay?
Takano-san continued with her mean jokes, but she hoisted my bike and loaded it into the back seat for me. Mean jokes were one thing, but couldn't she do something about that eerie smile of hers? And even more importantly than the bike, I didn't want to leave the shovel here. The shovel could be directly connected to a buried body and to me. Sorry to ask another favor, but could you get my shovel too? It's my favorite shovel. Takano-san gave me a clearly dubious expression.
Your shovel? That's fine with me. Is it important? No, but it's mine. Like, why would I leave it?
The more I talk, the worse it gets for me. That's how I felt, so I didn't force myself to answer her. Eventually, outlasted by my silence, Takano-san gave her a short shrug inside.
Alright, I understand. You need your shovel, right? You don't need to make such a mean face.
It's my comfort shovel. You know, some people have like a comfort blanket or maybe a plushie or, you know, whatever gives you comfort. And Keiichi has a comfort shovel.
Support shovel.
Yeah. Takano-san brought over the shovel that was lying in the middle of the road. I clutched it like I'd never let go of it again. Takano-san watched me with a puzzled look.
Okay, let's be off. Maebara-kun, you live at the Maebara mansion, don't you?
Why does everyone call my house the Maebara mansion?
Because it's actually a mansion. Must be nice to be rich.
Duh! Have you seen your house? Have you? Even if you have no frame of reference, you've seen your house and you've seen everybody else's houses here, right? Like, do you see that there's a difference? Because it's clearly evident.
You don't have 5 bathrooms?
No. You don't have a specifically separate guest entrance just for work? As she spoke, Takano-san pulled the handbrake and stepped on the gas. After making a skillful U-turn using the shoulder of the road, she steadily increased in speed. In the rearview mirror, the accursed place seemed to melt into the darkness.
Right?
Huh? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you. What was that? Takano-san suddenly tried to say something to me, but thoughtlessly I didn't catch it. Looking ahead, Takano-san said the same thing one more time.
The body. How well was it buried?
thought my heart might beat out of my chest, but I didn't let it show. But my lungs were squeezed tight and I couldn't breathe. What are you talking about?
When burying bodies in mountains like these, you have to bury it fairly deep because wild dogs will often smell the corpse and dig it out. Some human bone a wild dog brings back in its mouth leads to an incident being uncovered. The police head out a stretch of mountains. It actually happens pretty often, you know.
You know what this is making me think? I'm gonna write this down, because I haven't written down any predictions in a long time. How do I put this into words?
Hive mind?
No. I think there's a possibility that the serial murderer making people disappear is Takano-san.
Okay.
Because, hear me out. Look at her.
Oh wow, you look like a serial killer.
She carries herself like somebody who would not be opposed to murder. She has a deep understanding of all the fucked up things that have happened in Unigafuchi village and later in Hinamizawa. We know this because of her diary from chapter 2. I'll just assume that she has something like that in every chapter. So in every reality, she's the law master of the untold history of Hinamizawa. And she seems to have a weird type of fascination with death, murder, and destruction. I keep saying weird a lot lately. Need to find a new word.
Doesn't seem weird, but yeah, she does have one.
She has an unhealthy relationship with these things. If she actually goes as far as to go like, I always wondered what it would feel like if I murder somebody, and I happen to live in a village where for thousands of years people thought they are the descendants of demons, so, I'm a nurse. I have a much larger degree of understanding of anatomy and the human body than most of the people living here. So reasonably, I could make it seem like a ritualistic murder has happened where you gutted a person and you removed their entrails and all that.
Somehow, it wouldn't be shocking if you turn out to be right, but I don't think you are.
Takano-san.
We have to bury it deep enough.
I know, right?
The face seriously works with all of these lines.
The Giga Chat is the Giga Chat for a reason.
Yeah.
Takano is the murderer that kills during Watanabe.
It's probably the exact same face Takano pulls when she says it.
I don't know how to put this better, and it's gonna sound sexual, but I don't mean it sexual. I mean it like, not arousal of a body, but emotional arousal. The way Takano is written, the way she keeps talking about these things, like getting really into it and like like she seems to get off on this.
Well, she likes to throw you off, I think.
Like if somebody told me for foreplay she likes to read a murder mystery, I would not be shocked.
They act it out. But you now say that Takano is the murderer for all Watanagashis. Does that mean you don't believe Satoshi killed the aunt the year before anymore?
Maybe, but then Takano is one of the murderers.
Okay.
Yeah. The sound of incels the moment AI robots would become available as sex bots right there on the screen.
Sorry, what did I just read?
Close your eyes.
Ah,
What? What did I do?
you spit on my glasses.
I'm sorry, I'm getting
There.
excited. It's Mommy's fault.
Yeah.
Now, close your eyes. Listen to the line again. The sound of incels, the moment AI robots would become available as sex bots, right there on the screen. And now read the line, please, because it's sound effects, so you have to anyway.
Pound, pound, clang, clang.
Yes, 100% yes. I think it's more clang, clang and less pound, pound, because human flesh on metal. I don't know, that doesn't sound like it's doing anything for me, but hey, no king shaming. Huge rusted bell started ringing in my head. Had I buried it so deep that it could absolutely... Had I buried it so deep that I could say it absolutely wouldn't be found? The answer was no. I was in such a rush to bury him and get it over with that I couldn't deny having possibly buried it too close to the surface. No, wait, that's not... Wait, anyway, this woman, how does she know? She had just passed by here in her car by coincidence, and we ran into each other by coincidence. If she had been watching the entire thing from the trees, and once I left, she came back in her car, it didn't make logical sense. So then, why... Keiichi Maebara. That's it. You need to kill her. My entire body reawakened. I could feel my pupils dilate. I couldn't possibly beat her to death with a shovel in such a small car. Not with that attitude. Then I would use my hands and strangle her. But she was driving right now. If I strangled her, we might get into an accident.
So in all seriousness, this was something I'd see Jack say if I hadn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, for one, welcome our new AI overlords.
Same. That's why I always say please and thank you to Siri. You know, I want to be on the good side. Hi, thank you for reading the text, mommy. Then suddenly, Takano-san turned and looked at me.
What? No witty retort?
For a moment I was surprised. What was she talking about?
It would seem we're not a very good match.
Takano-san said, disappointed, returning her gaze ahead. I repeated the words she'd said a few times in my head, and finally realized she'd meant it as an off-color joke. I didn't know whether it was really a joke, but I wouldn't be able to fool her no matter how many lies I told. Right now, with her driving the car like this, I couldn't kill her. I would have an even harder time doing it when we got back to my house. That moment we met, that had been my best chance. And to have missed it so easily, it hurt. After that, Takano-san didn't say a single word. The car was completely buried in an almost suffocating silence.
Do you think that was a joke or not?
No, I'm telling you.
Because I think she was serious.
She is messed up. She gets off on this shit. Takano's ideal version of a first date is to visit a cemetery and read the tombstones. And then finding something with like a really sad inscription. Or like finding one with a really short span of time. Which, you know, really sad to everybody else, but...
Well...
Wait.
Yeah, but then the question is...
No, wait. It would seem we're not a very good match. It seemed like an off-color joke. I have a perfect reason for why I feel the way I do about her. And I learned this on the internet. Even ironic shit posting is still shit posting. If you make jokes like this, there is some fraction of a truth behind it.
Yeah, but it would have been funny if you didn't just bury a body.
It wouldn't be... the fact that she is telling us we would not make a good couple is still, let's say, just problematic.
It has nothing to do with being a couple. It's a personality match. Like
I'm not sure
we don't
with
have
her.
the same click when it comes to jokes.
Takano-san seems like the kind of person to send love letters to murderers in jail.
That has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with being a match as in being a couple.
Listen,
100% I do not believe that. No.
I'm socially awkward. I had to ask Tifa to straight up tell me that she had feelings for me because I wouldn't have understood otherwise. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm saying this lady needs therapy.
I agree with Psycho, they're just not vibing.
Alright,
That's the only thing she means. Oh, now you do.
I know Psycho is a trustable source of information.
Like, I don't see why I don't get why you see the romance part in this, because there's absolutely nothing there.
I hope not. What a loser, only made it to 20. I know, right? Or even less.
Before we continue, I say we take a short break though.
What kind of woman we had run into?
A one that takes breaks.
That's not a bad idea, though. I can use some more tea.
BRB.
BRB. You didn't press the button.
I was looking for the button. Here it is. We're back.
I was thinking about this during the break. Takano-san is giving me Harley Quinn jokes, vibes. From Batman?
I don't know the character enough. Besides the toxic relationship with the Joker thing.
Being one of the, what's the right term? Psychotherapists, I guess. Working in Arkham Asylum, being assigned to the Joker and then eventually falling in love with him.
I don't know.
Alright.
It's not. I don't know the character enough.
There is nothing else to know. She falls in love with the Joker and then she works with him. And then she starts dressing like a clown.
Well, she doesn't seem that bad yet.
Have you seen... Wait, you have seen Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad. She kills people.
I don't mean Takano seems that bad. Because I also don't believe she's the serial killer.
We will see. That tea is super hot. Are you sure you should be drinking it?
Yes, it is. Ooh, that's sour.
Eva made more ginger tea. Anyway. What kind of woman had I run into? With everything that happened today, I managed to pull it off. And at the very end of it all, I just had to go home and go back to sleep. With bad luck. As my sleepiness gradually overtook me, the anxiety I felt steadily started to matter less and less. Is this alright, Keiichi Maebara? You probably should not leave this woman alive. Right now, I'm tired. Tifa made tea out of gingers? Yeah, it's one of her cannibalistic tendencies, you know.
It's quite tasty, which is probably why you don't see as many gingers anymore.
Why would you go along with it, Tifa?
Yeah, that sounded like the dodos got extinct, because they were so good, they ate all of them.
The problem was that the dodo apparently tasted amazing and that they did not at all run away or fight back.
They have no souls anyway.
She stepped on the brakes and I jerked against my seatbelt.
And we're wide awake.
That woke me up. I thought I must have fallen asleep by accident. I looked out the window and there was a big building with faint lights on. It was really dark out, but I knew immediately it was my house.
I'll go get your folks for you. Would you mind the place for a few moments while I'm gone?
Don't make fun of me, please. Besides, look, I'm fine now. I can walk by myself.
Oh my. You were in such pain before that you had to get me to carry you. Did you just want a pretty lady to be nice to you?
No. I wanted you to be nice to me. Shoot your shot, Keiichi. This is the best you're gonna get with your fucked up life.
Probably think that was a joke. The purpose of jokes are to laugh and then shut up. Not double down on it. Yeah, but you were right.
Tripling down. No, you can thank me for tea for having this tea, because I actually had the foresight of 2 days ago, Friday evening, yesterday evening, Saturday evening, when we went shopping, groceries, to buy a piece of ginger to make some ginger lemon honey tea.
See, they come in pieces.
Oh my god, Jack said he broke off a piece of ginger. Oh.
So Jack made tea out of ginger.
Wait. See? Laugh and then shut up. Thank you, Mommy, for letting me demonstrate. Thank you. Mwah. Appreciate it.
I already left.
As Takano-san spoke, she left her car and opened up her umbrella. The sound of falling raindrops was fierce as always. What was with that dramatic inhale? You're like,
I was gonna say something, but it doesn't work.
and Tifa's laugh was just... I'm not gonna get out of this, am I? Okay, look, text for me to read. I carefully reached down and rubbed the ankle I had twisted. There was still some pain, a little weirdness, but they weren't that bad anymore. A little weirdness. Tenderness, I know as a term when you hurt yourself. Soreness, yes, but a weirdness?
I guess when it doesn't really hurt, it just feels odd.
Yeah, no, I feel it too.
Mm.
Rather than being happy about how light the wound was, I first regret this whole thing. If I hadn't twisted my ankle, I could have still taken the option of killing Takano-san right then and there. There probably wasn't much doubt, but Takano-san was convinced I was involved in some sort of crime. If she knew about everything happening with Satoko, then she might have even guessed I'd killed somebody.
Click.
Takano-san opened the passenger side door for me. Now kill her, Keiichi. Take the shovel and jam it into her throat.
You sure you don't need my shoulders? I wouldn't mind doing it for you again.
So, okay, now, please, tell me, she's not flirting with him?
No. She's just weird.
How do I tell the difference?
You don't. Well, you know she's not. Just accept it.
But how do you tell the difference? Teasing isn't flirting. You don't. Yes, that's my problem. I ignored her and answered by getting out of the car by myself. The rain was still pretty intense. Got my bicycle out of the back seat. I was a bit curious who the other bike belonged to, but that didn't matter right now.
Also, you can buy a cycle a bike with just one leg.
I'm sorry, I can buy a cycle a bike?
You can cycle with just one leg.
Harder.
It's
Sorry,
harder,
she's
yeah,
Dutch.
but it's not impossible.
What do you mean? My hints are obvious. The hints? Yeah.
No, I'm with Psycho. It's more teasing than actual flirting.
But do you understand how one could be confused for the other?
I get it, but
Thank you.
I don't agree in this situation.
No, okay, but no, I just needed you to I just needed you to understand why I would be confused. I'm okay with that. We can disagree on this, but thank you. The more words I put to this, the more redundant it becomes. My point is done. And Takano-san held the umbrella over me, then pushed my bicycle up to the front door. Thank you very much. I'll be fine now. My ankle hurt so much earlier. It still did, but it aggravated me that it hadn't been that bad. It was really, seriously terrible luck.
Alright, I'll be leaving then. Keep it a secret that we had a nice evening drive together by ourselves, okay? Especially from Jiro-san.
Jiro-san? Oh, she meant Tomitake-san. I suppose she calls him by his first name. His full name must be Jiro Tomitake, then. And then the other bike, the folding one in the backseat that I didn't care about at first, suddenly came to mind.
Oh, he had the folded one when we first met him. He took that bike to go to the temple when we showed him the way.
Does she kill him? Just here or in every timeline?
That's now, well, she was dead in the previous one, remember?
Yeah, but that could have been unrelated.
That is true.
That could be unrelated.
This would be kind of funny though, like two people murder someone, accidentally run into each other, both trying to hide that they kill someone.
Yeah, and Keiichi does it by like, no, I didn't kill anybody. What? I'm pretending to be asleep. And Takano is like, yeah, wouldn't it be weird if we murdered somebody?
Hey, careful!
Put it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it down on you!
Just don't lift it. I'm a funny guy, you shouldn't drink in my vicinity. See, exactly. You laugh at the joke and then you shut up. Thank you. Sometimes the side of my face gets really itchy. It's usually the side Tifa sits on. Hey, excuse me, you're from Hinamizawa, right? On the day before yesterday, as I walked near the dam, half asleep, Tomitake-san had talked to me. And the bicycle he'd been riding, it was foldable. Oh jeez, what have I started? It's too late now, mommy. Our actions are always somebody else's fault. Always. I think you're teeth allergic then. That would explain why my face is being extra again. It could be.
It was fine last week.
Yeah, but then you weren't here. Just saying. That bicycle in the back belongs to Tomitake-san, doesn't it?
This is your moment to shut up.
Laugh at the joke, Keiichi, and
Just don't say anything about the bike.
No. I know you need to stir your stuff, but you're stirring very loudly.
That's why I stayed away from the edge.
Yeah, but I can hear it, so it annoys me. You know when somebody is like trying to do something really quietly, but in the process they are not being quiet at all?
I don't think, besides the one or two clings, anyone heard.
Like, I don't know if you could hear Tifa stir her tea, but for me it sounded like this.
Hey,
What?
that gets annoyed in the... that's an annoying sound in the microphone.
That's why I led up to it. And
Have you not learned anything
there's a volume
from the last
cap on
time
There's a
you
volume
tried
cap
to
on these.
recreate the annoying sound?
There's a volume cap on these. And it was over there. Sorry about that. How does your unstirred tea taste now?
Less good.
Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Takano-san's eyes, I think they sharpened for a moment.
And why do you think that?
I saw it when I met him before. The frame stood out to me. It stood out to us so much that this is the first time we're ever privy to Keiichi thinking about this.
But wouldn't that be odd? Do you think it's possible for this to be Jiro-san's bike?
Odd. Uh-huh. Takano-san, her hair elegantly fluttering, peers into my eyes.
Well, there are no bed and breakfasts in Hinamizawa, are there? Jiro-san would need to be staying in town.
Is that so? Well, I guess that's right, huh?
You can't really walk from town to Hinamizawa, can you? And there are no buses either. You at least need a bicycle.
She didn't need to tell me that. That's why Jiro-san was riding a bike.
For Jiro-san's bicycle to be stowed in my car. And him not in there, that would be strange, wouldn't it? It would mean Jiro-san was in Hinamizawa, without a bike. I'd have to have left Jiro-san somewhere and put his bike in the car, wouldn't I? It wouldn't make sense.
As she spoke, Takano-san's made... Now I can't even read anymore. As she spoke, Takano-san made eyes like a hawk. Unfortunately, I didn't really understand what was so odd. What about that is odd? Aren't you and Tomitake-san friends? I don't really think it would be strange for there to be some reason you had his bicycle in your car.
Then why do you ask? Why do you ask if it's not strange?
I don't know.
But it would be. What I mean is Jiro-san and his bicycle being in different places in Hinamizawa wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, what if a bicycle is broken and she's bringing it to a shop to get it repaired?
And for those reasons, it means this bicycle can't be his. Do you understand now?
Is she trying to, like, hint at us not being supposed to feel this way?
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yeah, but she's gaslighting us. She's going with... I was gonna say logic, but I'm not gonna give her the pleasure of that. She's gonna go with a line of thinking of like, well, if it doesn't make sense, it can't have happened like this.
I thought she was actually going with the, oh, he has to stay there. So he stays at my place because there's no bed and breakfast, there's no buses, so he just uses my bike, which I just got back.
Yeah, but that's way too many words. Like, the more she says, the more suspicious it gets.
Yeah, but this is even more words.
That's what I'm saying. That's why she's getting more and more suspicious.
Yeah.
Takano-san's roundabout way of talking was hard to comprehend. But that eeriness I could feel, that vague dreadfulness, I didn't like it at all. But the most wild, instinctive part of me warned me not to pry.
That's my bicycle. Jiro-san picked it out for me though, so I can't deny that it looks alike.
I see now. I thought it looked similar.
You and I never saw each other tonight.
And now she was talking about something completely different. What are you talking about?
You and I never saw each other tonight.
I stayed there, not knowing what to say, and Takano-san repeated her eerie, succinct phrase to me again.
You and I never met this night. You and I never saw each other tonight.
Something cold and unpleasant crawled up my spine. I knew because I'd killed a person with my own hands before. Before I came to the conclusion that I only had one chance to beat this woman to death to keep her quiet, and I couldn't hesitate. So I could tell that she'd arrived at the very same conclusion. My instincts warned me again. I wish I'd never met this woman. The faint sense, like a rotten smell, drifting from this woman was no doubt the exact same sense that I was giving off right now. The very peculiar aspiration, the lack of uncertainty in taking a human's life for a purpose, one that only those who have risen above everything had. Actually, maybe I should have called it a nausea. It meant, and I didn't know how to explain this very well, but Takano-san was the same as me. In other words, someone who shouldn't have been here. Someone I couldn't have let anybody know was here. Someone who nobody would have wanted to see. And now that we had, we could calmly pretend as though we never met.
She has a white van as a car.
It looks like it, yeah. Like a kind of isekai white van that also almost hit Keiichi in chapter 1?
One, I think it was, yeah. Do you think it's the same one?
Could be.
Do you think she tried to run us over?
Could be. I mean, she has a knack for that, doesn't she?
Write that one down before we forget it. In case that comes back. When was that, chapter 1? But does she have candy? She doesn't need to. Her charms will get us in the car.
She has the eye candy for us. What did we write down?
That Takano is the one driving the white van that tries to kill us.
Alright. Yes.
Why do you put that there?
Why not?
Because my lane is the middle.
Oh my god, Tifa, I'm trying to read my lines. Could just fix this in post. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but then I forget.
Yes. Which meant that, just like I wanted to have nothing else to do with her, she didn't want anything to do with me either. And she too wanted to make it so that we'd never met. Both of us wished for the same thing. Our desires were the same, which meant Takano-san's suggestion was extremely practical, and that I couldn't outright refuse. If that's fine with you, then sure, whatever. You and I didn't meet at night. You and I didn't meet this night.
No, you're right. That would be best for you too, wouldn't it?
Why do you think that?
Are you seriously asking me that? You can't figure that out on your own, boy.
Oh, she's doing the Higurashi eyes. She cut me off with a condescending word, boy. Right in front of my house, in a place most unsuited to killing. And yet, there was a frozen thirst for blood coming from both of us. I would be killed. Right here, right now. Yeah, then I should have definitely beaten her as we passed each other. A damp, greasy sweat broke out on my body. That's fine. If you want me, then you can come anytime. When I made up my mind, she shook her hair elegantly and turned on her heel.
Good. I'm a kind person, after all.
What was good? How? Because she was a kind person? Was that it? I didn't get it. Takano-san got into her car. We didn't exchange any words of parting. I performed a massive feat, the killing of Satoko's uncle, and yet I didn't feel any accomplishment. On the holy night of Oyashiro-sama's curse, on which the taking of another's life was allowed. On the terribly rainy night when the demons wandered as agents of Oyashiro-sama's will. The demons were never supposed to meet, but suddenly they did. The demons parted ways triumphantly. There was no reason for them to fight. Both their objectives had already been accomplished. The rain hitting me like a waterfall, my eyes met with Takano-san's through the car window. A female demon, her mouth twisted into a distorted, fearless smile. It was too late to kill her. Far too late. That first moment, the very first moment we saw each other, had been my best chance. And now we had parted like this, I was acutely aware of it. I should not have let her live. She beeped her horn quickly, and I pressed the button accidentally.
Then a car drove away into...
She beeped her horn quickly, then her car drove away into the deluge.
Into the deluge?
Yes.
What's the deluge?
A pouring torrential rain.
Oh.
A mass of water falling down.
Never heard of that.
It's like an avalanche, but water.
Huh.
Kind of, right? One woman who knew what really happened tonight disappeared into the dark. As long as she was alive, this night would never really end. Just get into an accident, I thought to myself. In this downpour, slip on some mud or something and fly face first into a tree and die. It wasn't a delusion, a wild flight of fantasy. It was an earnest wish. Yes, it was a command. Die. Die. And keep your mouth shut for eternity. Because I have no doubt you're wishing for me to die all the same. My curse upon her faded emptily as Takano-san's taillights disappeared into the utter darkness. The car's lights were completely out of sight now. Even the sound of the engine faded into the sound of a heavy rain and was inaudible now. I too turned on my heel to draw the curtains on this insane night, to open my front door and end it all. I began walking towards the front door. I was covered in mud and I made squishing sounds with every step I took.
Squish, squish.
Don't worry, Keiichi Maebara.
Squish, squish.
She'll die.
Squish, squish.
That's why I feel like it's more like a...
I did not make those sounds for all of you in...
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, if you've ever had like soaking wet socks inside your shoes and you step down, you know it's not the cute like squish, squish.
But you always hate it when I make those sounds.
When you feel the water get pressed in between your toes and you feel the coldness, the wetness move around your foot as the water mixed with like the dirt and like the sweat of your foot and all that. And the inside of your shoes is like stuck in your shoe. I paid for the sounds, exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we have 6 sounds to make up for, okay? I'll do 3, you do 3. Beautiful.
There we go. I'm sorry. I will correct it.
You need to commit, Tifa.
Yeah, I thought everyone hated those sounds. I'm
because
sorry.
you drink your soulless tea.
Wasn't aware.
And will be as miserable as she is. I'll throw her into some flames alive and let her dance until she's burned to a crisp. I'll burn her to ashes in the fires of hell itself until she's roasted as much as she deserves. I wish. I really do.
Oh, that was a bonus one.
Santa? Is that you? No? It's like
I hear the bell.
It's like the bells you hear at the beginning of Christmas songs.
Not that, but...
Huh? Just now I hadn't taken a step. And yet... a footstep. Without emotion I turned around. If there was a footprint that wasn't my own, but it was obvious someone else was behind me. Was somebody else there? I was sick of this. Whoever it was, I was sick of everything tonight. This time I would kill them. I'd kill them without a second thought. I wouldn't hesitate to turn around and dig another hole. But fortunately, there was nobody there. I wasn't going to have to kill any more people tonight. This night, I couldn't handle any more of it. Even if I heard an extra footstep each time I stopped, I put it down to me just being tired.
I'm guessing... Shion? Mion?
Shmion.
One of the two.
Ninja Shmion is taking steps.
One of the two makes sense.
Or a really fat neighborhood cat.
Or that. That could also be.
New tips unlocked. Fire from hell and victim of a 50-year... Ooh! Alright, let's learn something. Fire from hell.
Hello, do you need the hospital or the fire department?
The fire department.
Is there a fire or some other accident? Please speak slowly and calmly.
I think it's a fire. This is the rest area on the highway. I can see a ton of fire and smoke coming up from the mountains behind us. Nobody goes back there, so I don't know why anything got lit on fire. Anyway, I figured I should let you know. It could turn into a forest fire.
I understand. I need to know exactly where you are, so please tell me your name, a phone number we can use to get in touch with you, and the exact location of the fire. Notice from the fire department headquarters. We have a report of a suspicious fire on the western slopes of the mountain. Given its distance from the road, it could be a couple's bonfire or someone unlawfully burning trash. The location is deep in the woods, no homes in the area, but the fire could spread. Immediately go to the site to verify.
Is this a fire station? This is a District Fire Department branch. We arrived moments ago at the reported area. The fire confirmed to be a burning oil drum left in the mountains. The fire is calming and there is no chance it will spread.
Wasn't it in the previous chapter that someone got burned in an oil drum?
And, well, in the oil drum, I think it might be a person, like a person burned with kerosene or something. Well, I think maybe we should get the police over here. There's no mistaking it. This is a person. That came from my soul. That's the same sound I make when an insect is landing on my face.
Okay, but that means we have the same murder again. Wasn't it Takano in the previous chapter?
We don't know. We don't know if it's the same one.
No, but I mean in the previous chapter it was Takano that was burned in the thing, no?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the same murder. Question is it the same person?
Victim of a 5th year.
This year's curse then.
That's what it looks like. He kills them differently every year, but this is particularly conspicuous, isn't it?
Clawing out your own throat? That isn't normal.
Let's leave first to the old man in forensics. I'm sure he'll find some suspicious drugs.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Oh, Ooishi-san, Komiyama-san and the others have arrived. Ooishi-san, much appreciated. Well, it would seem we have a pretty crazy one this year.
Yes, we've been outsmarted. I was absolutely under the impression Teppei Hojo would get killed tonight.
Who is the deceased?
Every time it's deceased. Jiro Tomitake, a photographer for hobby, for coming to Hinamizawa a few times a year. I didn't even have him marked.
I wonder what happened. Did they realize we were watching the Hojo residence the whole time and decided to switch their target?
Maybe. We sure flubbed this one.
And there are no problems with Teppei Hojo?
Correct. His daughter left for the festival in the evening, and a little while later he left on his motorbike. His daughter came back first. Wait. Has he not come back yet? Is he still out drinking somewhere?
So wait, the police decided to trail their possible victims.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But decided to leave it at watching the house, and when their possible victim left, didn't follow him.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense, sure.
Seems like a normal thing for understaffed and underpaid police to do. Ooishi-san, are you there? A call from Chief Takasugi. He's on the line in car 1. Okay, so Takano-san actually did meet her end again by being burned in an oil drum. And once again, Tomitake-san is dead.
Yep.
So
we do have a repeat there again. Assuming that is Takano. I like how the tip even ends at cliffhangers now though.
End of chapter 10. Yeah. At first I thought it was a dream. I was staring at this strange sheet, not really understanding what it was. That was all. I didn't go after it, nor did I ridicule it. I didn't ridicule the sheet. What?
I don't think I need to understand this part.
The fact was that the boring view was the ceiling of my own room, but I didn't realize that for a fairly long time. Yes. I thought I'd been dreaming, but I'd actually been staring at the ceiling the whole time. lethargy induced by the voices of the cicadas. Even after I realized I was awake, I couldn't draw forth the energy to sit up. Everything I could see, everything I could hear, everything was like a television broadcast that had already ended. It was hot. So hot I could choke on the heat. My back was moist with night sweats and it felt gross. Unable to endure it any longer, I tossed in my futon and finally blood started coursing through my brain. I lazily recalled the long day I had yesterday. The reality, as I lay here listening to the voices of the cicadas, and yesterday so different from it. In order to kill Satoko's uncle, I had rehearsed, formulated a plan, and dug a hole. It was very hot and I was tired, wasn't I? And when evening came, I went to school and called him out on the phone. I panicked for a moment when he asked where the police station was, but it worked out. And then I awaited him and swooped down. I couldn't remember anymore what sort of emotions I had let control my body. In any case, it didn't go smoothly, but I did it. It was very hard to dig a hole for the body. The feel of the rain pelting down on me, I don't think I'll ever forget it. The rain, the mud, and the sprays of blood. The sensation of floundering in a swamp. When I met Takano-san on the way home, it wasn't good no matter how I interpreted it. It was the most misfortunate and uncalculated thing that had happened that night. Everything would have been perfect if only I hadn't encountered her.
Everything would have been perfect. No. I think we played something else than he...
Yeah, but you know, if you feel like you got away with it, then you feel like you got away with it, so... I was just riding my bike with my shovel in one hand through the downpour, utterly soaked. There's no way someone could surmise I was a murderer burying a body just from that information. Now that I was thinking calmly, napping under the morning sun, that's what I thought. Still, the more I think about Takano-san's eyes, it seemed like she understood. Takano-san, she knew that I'd killed someone, buried them, and that I'd been on my way home, exhausted. Takano-san wouldn't gain anything from selling me out to the police, but that didn't mean I could feel at ease. Just because you can't gain anything from that, well, first of all, I feel like you can gain something from that, which is not having people who murder other people around you. I feel like that's worth it.
Takano now went back to the forest after dropping him off and corrected all of his mistakes.
Yeah, buried him properly. I should have killed her. I had crossed such a bridge to get my tranquil life back, and had finally achieved it as a result. But now, for the rest of my life, for all the tranquil days starting today, I'd have to live in fear of when they could suddenly end. I may have twisted my ankle, dulled from total exhaustion. The fact that I couldn't make the snap judgment I needed to, I regretted it more and more as time went on. You didn't have a choice, Keiichi Maebara. You didn't have any choice at the time. You were tired. You were a mess. Even if you had made the decision, you might not have been able to kill her. She might have just beaten you instead. In that sense, parting ways uneventfully could have been the safer option. No matter how sharp Takano-san's intuition was, she had no proof. Her suspecting me didn't amount to evidence by itself. Logically, I know that. But it doesn't mean I have nothing to worry about, does it? Just worry about it when the time comes. Now isn't the time to be worrying. It's the time to be smiling, right? You accomplished so much just to gain a new life starting today, didn't you? And you should be happy at this new morning. If remembering the past is too hard for you, then just consider everything up to yesterday as having never happened. You said so yourself. You'd bury it all like it never happened. Well, your wish came true. Everything before yesterday never happened. So be happy, Keiichi Maebara.
Yay!
Yay! I stuck up my hands lazily. It felt a little silly for me to be the one doing it. I heaved a sigh from deep in my belly. We call this Compartmentalizing. Yeah, he's having whole conversations with himself now.
I mean, he did before already too.
Yeah, but somehow, I mean, I do the same thing, but how do I put this? I don't think there's anything wrong with voicing your internal thoughts out loud or having a whole conversation with yourself. Sometimes that just helps you think, you know, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. But I don't know, it seems like it's getting more, and the two Keiichis talking to each other are becoming more and more different. I feel like there's a difference between me, Jack, voicing out loud mine, Jack's, thoughts.
Well, I don't think that has changed. It's just that the things he's done have changed. And you kind of get a bit more fucked up. So your conversation with yourself also...
So the contrast becomes bigger.
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference in talking to yourself about a baseball game that's happening or a pervert in the bathroom. Or someone who you just murdered. And someone who you believe is onto your murder. I think those would be very different conversations you have with yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me. I'm just like... It seems like a matter of fact kind of thing. Because chapter 3 Keiichi also went from... I really need to do everything I can to try to help my friend Satoko, to I am the unholy agent of Oyashiro-sama's will. I will execute the infidels who do not believe in the beautiful wonder, in the malignancy of the judgment of the god. Sleeper, awaken!
It's the adrenaline.
Is it though? Hyper... Yeah, exactly. Yes, kind of. We call this compartmentalizing until it's about murdering people. Yeah, most people do it at some point. But compartmentalizing, not by murdering people. That sigh got my lungs moving. Felt like I hadn't been breathing until just now. It wasn't enough to admonish myself over. All the dice that could be thrown already had been. The numbers that turned up weren't bad at all. If I lost with those numbers, then I'd just have to give up, I guess. I grabbed the chest of my pajamas and flapped it back and forth. Cool air flowed over my sweating body. Okay. Nothing before yesterday happened. Nothing. Nothing at all. I'd forget it all. Yesterday was all a dream. What time was it? About midday? Getting myself up and going to school this late seemed kind of absurd. But I needed to go. I felt like going to school would be the first step into my peaceful new life. I didn't care how late it was, I would go. I'd go to school right now and get back to the life I had retaken as soon as I could. My lazy body immediately became lighter at the thought. I rolled up out of a futon, bounced onto my knees, and then leapt upright. Nice! Stuck the landing!
10 points! Woo!
Woo! Stuck out my chest with pride at my gymnast-like pose and took a deep breath of fresh air. The brisk morning air had been gone for a while, replaced with a crisp air of summer. I was expecting it to be hot and stuffy. Also, his parents never even checked to see if he went to school. Like, isn't it midday now? Isn't it late?
I'm quite sure after the festival they have a day off.
But he said he would go to school now.
Oh.
So...
Never mind. Well, maybe we're not that late.
Downstairs I got a stern talking to by my mother. Where were you last night? When did you get back? You need to tell me you won't be home for dinner. Things like that. But considering the importance of what I'd accomplished yesterday, a little scolding was no problem. In fact, it even felt like the sort of thing that would happen in such a peaceful life. Scold me, Mommy. I listened with an irresponsible smile and stepped out into the sun high overhead. It was around the time lunch break would be ending. Everyone would probably be worrying about me.
Okay, yeah, so we are very late.
I didn't go to the festival and now I wasn't at school. Well, maybe they weren't too worried about it. Also, where was Reina trying to pick him up?
I was just thinking the same thing actually. Wouldn't she have come?
Did I miss something, or is the plot suddenly not plotting? Because certain things have been brought up multiple times. Reina picks us up every morning because actually we meet somewhere, but if we're late, she comes to the house to pick us up.
Yeah, and you would think our mom would have woken us if she was there.
I would have expected Keiichi being woken up by his mom angrily bursting into the room like, "Why are you still asleep?" Since I would have gotten a small piece of news, but a happy one, from Satoko today. Yes, the small piece of news that her uncle hadn't come home last night. Satoko would probably live her days in nervous tension for a while, thinking he might still come home. But eventually those days would end. And finally Satoko too would realize her uncle was never coming back. And then Rika-chan would quietly invite her. She would say, "You can live with me again." And everything would be back to normal. Our lives would go back to how they were before that man appeared. Satoko would start wearing that extraordinary smile, complete with those protruding canines, and fool everyone with those traps she was so proud of. I'd probably be her first target out of everyone, but I wouldn't be mad. In fact, I might actually shed tears of joy at the returning of something so normal. Satoko, she'd gradually grow into that meddlesome personality of hers. I mean, my lack of useful life skills was already completely exposed. I wondered if I'd ever be a match for Satoko. That would be such a pleasant thing to see too. With such warm, fuzzy predictions, I didn't feel bad for going to school so late. In fact, I wanted to run there now to get there as soon as I could. Instead, I decided to savor the peacefulness of just going to school like normal without running. The world I'd obtained for myself, that gave me joy just by walking like this. Yes, the world beginning on this very day was something I had won. Without that monumental feat yesterday, I would never have been able to come to school so cheerfully today. The school gate came into sight. Just then I heard the principal ring the bell to mark the end of lunch break. It was a clear, refreshing sound. I stopped despite myself and let myself take it in. It stopped suddenly. So there was an extra footstep. With a noise, the blessedness I was feeling throughout my whole body withdrew into any pore it could find. And as if to replace it, I felt like hundreds of hairy caterpillars were climbing up my feet.
That's very specific.
I turned back, but of course nobody was there. A single footstep could have easily been my imagination. But the footstep felt so ominous. That extra footstep I had heard after seeing Takano-san off last night. With everything that happened on that insane night, I didn't mind something like that happening once. It had been a hell of a night after all. In fact, having just one hallucination was pretty fortunate. But those footsteps should have ended with yesterday, so if I heard them again today, there was really only one thing it could have meant. Last night still wasn't over. It was still going. Still. That insane night. Forever. The step I heard. Just that one extra footstep was quietly ridiculing the nonsensical notion that the world starting today was completely different from the one that ended yesterday. The classmates playing in the school had all vanished inside like the tide going out. When I approached the school, it felt like that warm, fuzzy scene had ended, and it didn't feel good. At the entrance, I took a quick look in everyone's shoeboxes. Satoko Hojo, she was here. Mion was here too. And Reina, of course. Even Rika-chan was here. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun were here. In fact, I didn't see any missing classmates. If there were shoes missing, they would have to be my own. I took my shoes off and stuck them in, then took out some slippers. There wasn't a single pair left in the shoe boxes anymore. With that, they returned to their rightful state. But as I stepped up onto the wooden floor, I noticed there was just one pair of slippers left. Huh? Whose? Satoshi Hojo. Satoshi, who had never been to school since disappearing last year. Until now, we had committed the exact same act of violence, but I guess in the very end it went differently. You couldn't make it to school, but here I am. I didn't repeat the same mistake you made. I wasn't about to let myself feel superior about that. In fact, I felt an odd sense of familiarity with him. A misfortunate bond with someone I'd never met due to following the same fate. Headed down the hallway towards the usual classroom. It felt like it had been a whole year since coming here. Hey, did you forget Keiichi Maebara? Satoshi Hojo didn't really disappear on the night of Watanagashi, did he? Satoshi Hojo disappeared a few days later. On Satoko's birthday, if I was right. I didn't know what day it was, but I couldn't say for sure I'd avoided Satoshi's failure unless I remained here past that day. I was still living in that night of insanity. The teacher still hadn't come to the classroom. The other door clattered open, the one the teacher wouldn't use, so everyone turned at once to see who had arrived. Everyone looked pretty vacant. Suppose I'll greet them. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I do thank you for coming all the way out here today. Silence. When I started to think I'd fallen flat, someone finally started laughing for me.
Good morning, Keiichi.
Is that like I just took a moment to realize what was happening, or like a pity laugh?
Good question.
Before we
Maybe the
go into
latter.
that, I need another break.
BRB.
Sorry, that was too fast. Let me explain. I need to pee. BRB.
We're back.
So not only did Tifa somehow throw me off with her abrupt BRB-iness a moment ago, during the break we also had a little competition who could make the funniest stomach sounds. And you missed all of that.
It's the ingwer tea. And ginger tea.
It's because it's soulless. We've done the joke 4 times already, it's dead now. Anyway.
You're pretty energetic today. Yeah, energetic. Maybe you haven't gotten out of the festival mood yet.
The what mood?
Oh, the festive mood? Maybe you haven't gotten out of the festive mood yet. It's basically the same thing.
Hearing Mion and Reina's cheerful voices made me realize how dumb those dark feelings I'd been having at the entrance really were. Hey now, festive mood? I wasn't at the festival at all, remember? Before I could say that, Rika-chan smiled at me.
Keiichi, did you make sure to watch my dance? Yep. He saw it just fine. Didn't you see how big an applause he gave you?
Gaslighting!
No. Why are they covering for us? And he ignored it when that troublemaker Shion came up and made a pass at him.
Why is there that Christmas bell sound again?
Because what they're saying isn't correct. This is weird. They're supposed to be weird sounds.
Yes, but why? I know it's weird, but what type of weird is that Christmas bell sound?
Something not making sense or adding up. It fits.
Yeah, but for some reason I'm thinking deeper, like is it hallucination?
I don't think you need to think deeper. Take that, Shion. Wow, that felt good.
Mion starts laughing at the memory as she slaps me a few times on the back.
So, how did that target... Wait, Tomito. How did the target practice contest turn out in the end? I forgot what he is.
He's going through puberty, his voice changes sometimes.
Exactly.
Tomita-kun was facing me and talking. There was nobody behind me. That meant he was talking to me.
Tomitake turned up dead last. Everyone had a good time with his punishment game. Weren't you supposed to be the one in last place, Rika-chan? It was such a turnaround when you pulled off getting that chewing gum. I should have expected that from a member of my club. It was fantastic.
Crying at a time like this is a feat only Furude would be allowed to do. Let me start over. Crying at a time like this was a feat only Furude would be allowed to do, said Okamura-kun, breathing heavily from his nose. In my direction. Everyone laughed. If anyone but Rika-chan had done it, it would have been against the rules. Rika-chan gave one of her nipa smiles as she listened to it. In my direction. Reina too turned to me, turned towards me. Then with a somewhat embarrassed smile she whispered to me so only I could hear.
But really? Thanks. Keiichi-kun?
For what?
That giant stuffed animal. I was really happy. It's nice and safe right at my bedside. And I made sure to give it a goodnight kiss before bed too. This is so weird.
The class laughed at that, cheering and jeering. This whole time. The conversation had been a little bit off. I wasn't quite getting it. Thanks, Keiichi.
It's kinda like we jumped to chapter 1.
What's this? About a stuffed animal?
What's this? Come on, we all worked really hard at the festival yesterday to get it done, remember? The gigantic stuffed animal. The gigantic stuffed animal?
Reina seemed taken aback, but when she answered, she did it with a smile.
We were having a hard time knocking it over, so we tried aiming at the forehead and rapid fire shooting and stuff. And then, Keiichi-kun, you got a whole bunch of guns ready beforehand and shot them all.
We're in chapter 1.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, but now it clicks for me. This is what happens in chapter 1.
Yeah, we somehow jumped into chapter, or they were playing the events of chapter 1 for some reason. It was so cool, huh? I'm so confused.
Wait, who was this?
All the people in the neighborhood association, including the chairman, were praising you so much at the party afterwards. One of them said he'd fallen in love with your way of words. Tokuzo Kimiyoshi, the chairman of the children's committee, I think? He said he wanted you to entrust you with a few of the stalls at the next festival. Tokuzo is the chair of the refreshment booths. He's on the festival executives committee.
And he's also a member of the same family as the mayor. The Kimiyoshi family.
This is so weird.
Maebara-san is great at making things sound good, isn't he? Yep, whenever he talks about something it seems a lot better than it actually is. You can't say that.
Keiichi-kun, you'd make a great salesman. I bet you'd do great auctioning off overripe bananas or something.
What have you been talking about? I mean, I didn't go to the festival in the first place. I swallowed those words. I didn't know exactly why. But in Hinamizawa, this is what had happened. Yesterday, During the Watanagashi festival, Keiichi Maebara had appeared, and he had romped about with all the usual members of his club. He made a big scene at a few of the stalls, snatched a few sticks of takoyaki and okonomiyaki in his glee, rating each of them as delicious or terrible to get everyone excited. And they'd seen a gigantic stuffed animal at the target practice game, and everyone went after it. And then they got a whole bunch of cork guns, firing them in rapid succession, throwing each one away after using it, and admirably I shot down the biggest stuffed animal there. Then I gave the stuffed animal the proof of my victory to Reina as a gift. Then our fun came to a close as we had to go see Rika-chan's offertory dance. There was a ton of people squeezed in here, and we all got separated, but we each managed to get into good positions to cheer Rika-chan on from. Then, in the middle, when Shion came up and asked me to go hang out with her instead of watching the dedication dance, I refused, and stayed put watching the dance until the very end.
So wasn't Shion asking us away? Only chapter
2? Yeah, same with rating food. This is like a what-if version of 1 and 2. And 3. Bye. That's our great friend Keiichi.
I'm slightly confused on what is happening here right now.
But who? Who was that? Well, everyone's been saying it, haven't they? Keiichi Maebara. I had an urge to yell in anger at my classmates for having so much fun talking about the festival yesterday with Keiichi Maebara. What the hell are you guys even talking about? Far stronger than that feeling, though, was the sheer uncanny nature of this reality I couldn't understand. A Keiichi Maebara who wasn't me was in Hinamizawa yesterday. As I threw away my humanity, turned into a demon, and was busy beating Satoko's uncle to death, I was having a great time at the festival last night. What the hell? I had to suffer through so much. Desperately holding back tears. Getting so worn out in that downpour. Digging holes, chasing, beating, killing, dragging and burying. Who was this Keiichi Maebara who had ignored me so and spent such a fun, carefree time at the festival, damn it? Who the hell stood in for me as I put my life on the line working so hard to achieve this treasure-like everyday life? If there was another Keiichi Maebara besides me, then what was I? On the night of Watanagashi, where one died and one disappeared in accordance to Oyashiro-sama's curse, there was only a demon who had killed someone. Dumbfounded as I succumbed to a horrifying possibility, I looked around at my classmates to make sure there was nobody extra I didn't recognize among them.
Satoko hasn't said anything yet. She even there?
To make sure I wasn't among them. It was a horrifying thought. That the real Keiichi Maebara hadn't overslept and had come to school on time. And that I, who was no longer Keiichi Maebara, had just waltzed in here. But no matter how much I checked, the only people here were ones I knew. The man I met every time I looked in a bathroom mirror was not here.
Okay, everyone. Time to start afternoon classes. Please take your seats. President, please lead the class.
Where is Satoko here?
No one said anything yet about her.
The teacher entered and everyone hurried back to their seats. Upon finding me, who was so stupidly late, she gave me a stern talking to, but I wasn't listening to it. Wasn't our old life supposed to start today? Something wasn't right. It was just strange. I was supposed to go back to my old fun life after yesterday. I had set foot in an incomparably mysterious world that was completely different from both my old life and my recent one. Yes, this was, without a doubt, a different world than the one I had been living in until now. There was no way such an absurd thing could be possible. But unless it was true, I couldn't explain anything that just happened. In this classroom, I was surrounded by so many faces I knew, and yet I felt isolated. The cicadas sounded no different than they had before now, but they seemed somehow false. The air was parched and dry too, making me think, was the air in Hinamizawa always this uncomfortable? Hey, Reina?
What is it? We're in class.
About the festival yesterday. About when would you say I got there? To be honest, I was pretty excited afterwards and I gobbled down some cans of beer. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but I don't quite remember some things. For random babbling, it wasn't a bad excuse.
Keiichi-kun, you said you couldn't come at first, didn't you? You called Michan's house about it, right?
That matched. I called Mion and told her to take Satoko in my place since I wouldn't be able to meet up with them due to things I had to do.
We all decided while we were setting up for the festival that we'd invite Satoko-chan. We wanted to bring her out someplace where she couldn't see her uncle for a little while.
That was the same too. Mion said that when I called her. That everyone had already decided to invite her.
And then we all went, me, Michan and Rika-chan, to Satoko-chan's house and brought her out. Satoko-chan's uncle seems like a really mean person.
That part didn't matter. What I was trying to ask was... when did I meet up with you?
How could you forget that? Keiichi-kun, this is why I said to get a good night's sleep before the festival.
Whatever. When did I meet up with you?
Well...
My sudden threatening demand, Reina was at a loss for words. Oops, I shouldn't have rushed that. I told her I was sorry.
It was at the shrine grounds. It was unexpected. You were talking to Rika-chan, weren't you? Yep. You were having fun talk with Rika-chan in a shrine maiden outfit. And then Reina came up and said, I'm taking you home.
I was talking to Rika-chan.
And I asked, Kei-chan, didn't you have something to do today? And then you pounded your chest and said it yourself. That letting loose at a festival was more important than some silly errand.
I will never get over Tifa saying that word.
Errand.
Samus Aran is the main character of the Metroid games.
It's all the same, potato, potato.
I didn't say that. I never said anything like that. I never even went to the shrine grounds yesterday to begin with. I never had the time to stop by a place like that. I went to dig the hole as soon as I woke up. I had a pretty hard time doing it. After that I snuck into the school and made a call. I called him out and lay in wait. And when it started raining really hard. With that kind of downpour, the festival should have come to a halt. In other words, it ended then. From the time the festival started to when it ended, it would have been impossible for me to have swung by the shrine grounds. I was already there when Mion and the others dragged Satoko out and brought her to the shrine, and I was talking to Rika-chan. Then where would Rika-chan say we met? The teacher went out to wash her hands, so I ran over to Rika-chan's desk and asked her directly.
That's very random. Why would she walk out to wash her hands? We're in the middle of class.
The kids are dirty.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Aaron Yeager is the protagonist of the hit show. Talk Up Titan.
No, Titan.
Sorry.
Yes. Aaron Yeager is the protagonist of the hit show A Talk on Titan. Listen, I just had a brain fart and a beautiful idea. I think I found one of the very good uses for AI. I want to get copies of every single episode of Attack on Titan, and I want to run an AI over to redraw every frame and to like repitch the audio so that every name is just slightly off in the pronunciation, and that all the faces of all the characters are also like slightly off. Like you could still recognize them if you saw them, but like sometimes like the right side of a face kind of looks like it like got pulled over or like smushed. Sometimes the hair is just like too low, you know.
You go do that.
Like a really cursed version of Attack on Titan. Sorry, Attack on Titan. Just slightly off to mess with you. If you watch long enough, you realize something is wrong. And the deeper
I don't think you need to watch long enough for that.
The deeper you get into the show, the more grievous the mistakes become. So like at some point, like the head of a character is detached while talking, and like just like completely like here, like on the shoulder, but nobody reacts to it like, oh, this person's been decapitated. No, it's just like eh. No, it's Attack on Titan. It's the same show, but they had really low budget, so they like rushed it. Digital Circus stuff. I haven't seen that yet. If they do that there, then yes, I guess. We still need to watch that, by the way.
Well, you can put that in your prompt when you ask the AI to redo it.
Give me Attack on Titan and Digital Circus stuff. Apparently.
With you?
Yeah. We were talking to each other before Mion and Vyavas got there, right? When did we see each other? When and where?
I don't know what you're trying to ask.
You know, yesterday I didn't really get enough sleep and my head's a bit fuzzy. I don't remember a thing. It looked like Rika-chan bought into my babbling.
We saw each other when the mayor and the others came out of the assembly hall. You were in front of the ritual implement storehouse.
Huh? What? The ritual implement storehouse? I'd never heard of a building called that before. Or maybe I have, but at the very least I wouldn't know where on the shrine grounds it was. Do you realize that as they now tell us details, their story also doesn't match with the story they first told us?
Yep. Well, not that they first told us, everyone has a different version.
Yep. At first, when we came into the room, everybody told this somewhat coherent story that seemed like it was chapter 1. Then as we went into detail and Keiichi recapitulated the story, it was suddenly a mix of chapters 1, 2 and 3, ultimately. And now they're taking elements from chapters 1 and 2, but they mess them up. Like we were found in front of a storehouse.
Yeah, but what if everyone has a different memory?
The question is everybody just trying to cover for us and they're really bad at keeping the story straight for our alibi? Or did this actually happen and like time is like breaking?
They're not covering for us. Especially if you would cover, you wouldn't go like, oh, the mayor and this person talked to you, and even...
And you wouldn't involve more people to keep the lie...
Even the other classmates saw us there. So I'm not sure what sort of supernatural thing seems to be going on here.
Well, just like in Digital Circus, apparently the characters glitch out sometimes. I mean, not what you said, but I'm just taking the line.
It does feel like we're glitching.
You good, bro?
Yep. Hey, it's been a while since I yawned.
That's true. You were more busy. You didn't yawn earlier, true, and I didn't replace it with anything else. I'm so proud of you. Thank you.
The mayor got real angry at you since you shouldn't go near holy places without authority, remember? Keiichi, did you forget that too?
I was too scared to ask anymore. The more I asked, the more it became clear without any doubt that Keiichi Maebara was present at the Furude Shrine Grounds during the Watanagashi festival. The clearer that became, the more doubts, no, fears I had. Who on earth was I yesterday? Whoever that was, he had a good time in my place and managed to go the entire day without letting them notice I wasn't there.
You know the weird thing? If I was in this situation right now, I don't think I would even entertain what's happening here, but I would check where the fuck is Satoko and where is her uncle. Like, I need some sort of validation that he is actually dead first.
I would be freaking the fuck out. I would be doing exactly what Keiichi is doing. I've said this before. My greatest horror scenario, the thing in like movies, shows, games, that like messes with my soul the most, isn't like gore or like jump scares, stuff like this. It's reality unraveling, and I'm the only one realizing it. This very scenario is like the deepest horror I can imagine. Nah, this would completely mess me up.
It would be really weird.
Oh, right. When did that person leave everyone? This morning my mother got mad at me for having stayed out so late last night. Which meant that at the very least that Keiichi Maebara hadn't come home while my mother was still awake. The festival would have been closed because of the downpour. If I recall right, when I went back to the house's storage room to get another shovel, I think the clock said 7. Since it was already raining hard by then, the festival would have had to close down before 7. If I'd returned that early, I would have definitely run into my parents. Or, at the very least, they wouldn't have asked me when I got back last night.
Can't be worse than current reality. I want to say yes, because then, now, it's not the confusion of what the fuck is happening. Well, it is, but in a different sort of way. Not that everyone remembering things differently than you do. Actually, that sounds like work. I ran out of examples. No, but you know what I mean.
I like the current reality. My current reality is I get to sit next to the person I love the most in life, and I get to spend time with all of you.
That's very sweet.
And it's heartfelt.
Can't top that.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I say the most lines. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I hope it's clear enough. So, the Keiichi Maebara from yesterday, that meant he never went home. That meant the downpour happened, the festival was broken up, everyone left. But he didn't go back to the house. That means when I arrived at the natural conclusion, a wicked chill suddenly froze my spine and climbed up to my brain. That meant Keiichi Maebara was the same as Satoshi. One day, he never went home. On the night of Watanagashi, he never went home. The downpour interrupted the festival, and on the way home, he suddenly disappeared. And I, who was dealing with a corpse, went home without a problem. I was so tired I wasn't even hungry, so I went up to my room without a sound and crawled into my futon. Who was I? That much was obvious. Keiichi Maebara. Keiichi Maebara was me. There may have been another one, but that doesn't negate the fact that I was Keiichi Maebara. Then that other Keiichi Maebara was what? The voices of the cicadas steadily filling the classroom were beginning to bother me. Suddenly, I laid eyes on Satoko.
There she is.
Satoko's expression was dark as always. She seemed completely exhausted, at a life of agony she couldn't even imagine an ending to. What had last night been like for Satoko? Did she have fun with everyone and feel a little happy, if even for a moment? And when she went home, the end of her dream, she'd probably gone to sleep afraid of when her uncle would return. And then this morning, her uncle hadn't come home. And then she went to school. Right now she must have been still trapped by the rotten idea from which she couldn't be saved, that her uncle would need her when she got back. But you can rest easy, Satoko. Your uncle will never be coming back. I couldn't tell her it was because I'd killed him.
I think he's still alive.
When Satoko realized on her own that her uncle would never return, then that would truly be the end of a long, insane night. That's right. I didn't do anything wrong. I did the best possible thing I could have as Satoko's Nini. Not an atom in my body regretted it. And look, calm down and think, Keiichi Maebara. From a certain point of view, isn't it convenient that there was another Keiichi Maebara? I buried the corpse perfectly. A beginning wouldn't happen. But if worst came to worst, and it got out, and the investigation got to me, I now had a strong alibi able to profess the fact that I had been at the Watanagashi festival. But accepting something so creepy and using it as an alibi. Still, if I proved I hadn't gone to the festival yesterday, it would do no good and a whole lot of harm. That was what left the really, actually bad aftertaste. You'll forget about it, Keiichi Maebara. Everything that happened before today. So just forget about the Keiichi Maebara who was here yesterday too. Instead, let's watch gently over Satoko for the day her smile returns. And the day that would mark the end of that insane, all too long night.
That's all for today, class. And I think that's also a good point to save.
A few more moments. I want to get to Satoko. I think we're gonna have a thing with Satoko.
I don't think we're gonna have a thing with Satoko.
I think we're gonna have
if we're gonna have a thing with Satoko, it's gonna be long.
Cliffhanger.
It is a cliffhanger. For you. Right now.
I hate you.
Yeah, but even if you get to Satoko, you won't get anything yet until you go through the entire conversation with Satoko.
Boo! I agree. I agree. 100%.
I know too well how this goes. But don't worry, we will continue it on Tuesday.
Spoilers, wanna mute.
On Tuesday you're gonna get all of the conversation with Satoko.
Can I have my conversation now because I put the spoilers tag on?
Sure.
Like 5 hours ago?
Well, I just said a spoiler too.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
When I cannot Google anything, so if any of you could tell me, that would be great. When did Higurashi came out first? When was it originally released? I want to say early 2000s. I do not recall the year.
Until you get the answer, what's the issue? Or what's the...
1 second, thank you.
What's the reasoning?
The 2000s, yeah. The year might be actually important here. There is this other big franchise of video games. Few people know about it. The Elder Scrolls, and spoilers for the surrounding lore of the Elder Scrolls games, hence the spoilers tag. I don't know if because of bad writing or because of actual challenge to the writing or because of it's a cool concept. If you play through all the games in the Elder Scrolls series, or you just read up about the lore, you learn that multiple things can happen when you play an Elder Scrolls game. After Morrowind 2003. Thank you. Okay. By then it was established. So, in every Elder Scrolls game, Skyrim being the most sold one, let's go with Skyrim. In Skyrim, you, as your character, can join the mages of Winterhold, I believe. Mm-hmm. You can join the Dark Brotherhood, you can join the Warriors Guild, I forgot their name. You can do many things. You can become a vampire, you can become a werewolf, all of these things. You can join one of the two bigger warring factions for the civil war that is happening in Skyrim. in the lore of the Elder Scrolls, everything that can happen during the events of the games does actually canonically happen at the same time.
Okay.
Some of the games, the earlier ones, have different endings. All of them have happened at the same time. If I recall correctly, the term they use in universe for the lore is the dragon break. Dragons being creatures that can affect time. So anything that can potentially happen happens at the same time. Even if it doesn't seem to make sense, it does happen. So I was in the Cloud District often. Yes, I just spit on the screen. Yes, exactly. What if, for some sheer coincidence, Ryukishi 07 had a similar idea, or one inspired the other? That's why I was asking for the year. Because I forgot when they came up with the idea of the dragon break or time breaking and just multiple things, multiple realities happening at the same time somehow.
But how does this work for people experiencing everything differently then if everything happens at the same time? Because then everyone also experiences the same things differently at the same time.
Yes.
How?
Because after the fact, when you think back, your memories begin to make sense. Everybody just goes with it. It just happened. It just does.
Okay, so you believe that in this chapter somehow we ended up in this warped...
You just have to dimension drift into the Dinkus the Donkey universe. Kind of. What if...
That's what it feels like right now.
What if in Higurashi they use the same or a similar concept? I don't know. Where... Now spoilers for the Zero Escape series. Remember the morphogenetic field? Mm-hmm. And how different timelines affect different timelines? Mm-hmm. What if all of this is happening here? What if Higurashi is 8 chapters with 8 different things happening, but at the same time all of them are happening?
Well, that wasn't the case in the previous chapters.
No, maybe we just didn't experience it.
I guess.
This is why I started talking about the Elder Scrolls series, because there too, while it's happening, while the historical events are happening, it's just I'm witnessing these historical events unfolding. I am where I am. I see what I see. I feel what I feel. I hear what I hear. But thinking back, suddenly my memory's like, yeah, no, that happened too. Oh yeah, of course, the guy that led the College of Winterhold also was a vampire.
But with that logic, Keiichi should remember that he was at the festival. And then he should have gone like, oh yeah, I remember shooting down the plushie.
What if for some reason it doesn't work for Keiichi? What if it only affects the people around him? Now you would think, why would he be special? I don't know, but he is the character through whose eyes we witness the story. So logistically, from a narration/gameplay standpoint, that's enough reason why he doesn't. Because then that'd also be no mystery.
Well, I have no explanation for this yet, but I have a feeling that we did not actually kill Tepe. And he's still alive.
I'm not sure. I think we did.
Well, right now I have no clue. Like, I understand your theory and what you're saying, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense in this setting.
Yeah, because you experience time in linear fashion as a human being. You need to, for a moment, entertain the thought that maybe time isn't linear, but becomes linear again. I don't know how to better put it into words. Like, everything that can happen does happen, but you are just privy to a certain aspect of it. Unless somehow time breaks and then it all comes crashing together into itself again. Or maybe, just maybe, and Occam's razor dictates that the easiest solution is the right one, Every single one of the kids we spoke to now is just pulling something out of her ass to give us an alibi. Because even though they don't know exactly that we killed the uncle, they can put one and one together.
Yeah, but if that is so, it would have only been our small group and not the entire class.
Why? They told the others.
Doesn't make sense. And especially not since we're also bringing other people into the alibi.
Oh my
Like,
god! Oh my god, Tomita-kun! Have you seen?
No, I'm not just talking
this?
about the class. I'm talking about people outside of the class. We were talking about actual people running the stands, the mayor, all of that. Like, if you are trying to cover for an alibi, you would go like, "Oh, he had a conversation with my neighbor on the 6th floor, or with half of the village." Like, you could keep that within the classroom. But the moment you go outside of that, it doesn't make sense anymore for the alibi part.
You could try.
Nah.
It's not a good idea because that should be, disprovable, but you
And
could.
if the police would go ask questions, they would go to the adults first, not the kids in the classroom.
Everything when time being linear is above us three-dimensional ants. Yes, which is why you need a higher dimensional being to look at the termite's nest. And you then need to ask yourself, what are we building?
It's usually
the
guy in the wheelchair.
That plot point was so good, and then they fucked it up.
Could have.
That could have been.
A good ending.
That could have been so good. Not too late. Sorry, I had to. Oh.
Well, I'm not sure yet what they're pulling off here, but it doesn't make sense. And so far, I think everything could have been explained without maybe adding something supernatural into the mix.
It doesn't need to be supernatural. It could be, what's the right term? Mass hysteria?
I think we're sort of going into a supernatural corner here, but maybe we need a bit more of
It's always edging on that. It's always dancing on the blade between, like, falling either way very clearly.
Yeah.
If the story is dancing on the razor's edge, like, is this supernatural or can this be explained away? Because
I think so far it could have been explained away.
Hear me out. The kids are just making up things to try to give us an alibi. Mion specifically being the head of the S group, that also hasn't been brought up again, why they're now called the S group specifically here, because I think that's important that you suddenly use different terminology in this chapter.
Well, I think they did, because they said that they're not allowed to investigate the family. They started doing that privately, and they made up the code name S group so that it's not too clear that they're talking about them.
So the super powerful Shmion family would also have the influence / money to tell people, hey, don't you remember when Keiichi Maebara did this? And then you go, yes, of course I remember. I was there. I witnessed it myself. Especially with the Kimiyoshi family being thrown into this. And in the previous chapter, we learned that the Satoshi family... No, not Satoshi. What's Mion's last name?
I forgot.
The S group. That the S group... Sonozaki, thank you. And the Sonozaki family is the number one of the big three families, therefore exerting power and whatever over the other two. The Kimiyoshi family, I think, wasn't even... No, they were the first ones.
Doesn't make sense. They wouldn't have had to go this far just for an alibi. No. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's that.
Or maybe...
I think everything happening at once makes more sense in that regard.
Or maybe... they're just doing this because they're 15 to 18-year-old kids and they've never been in a situation where they need to make up alibis and they're all really bad at this.
I'm not buying the alibi thing.
I don't know, it's chapter 3 out of 8. What can I say?
Yeah, I also don't think we're gonna get an answer to this anyway.
Not anytime soon, at least, no.
Oh.
Every time I'm beginning to think, yeah, I can see where this is going, they throw this slight curveball in there. I liked it better. No, that's the wrong term. I was having an easier time understanding when it was just Keiichi going, yeah, I just want my old life back. I'm gonna kill everybody because I am the embodiment of vengeance of oyashiro-sama. You know, that's an easier concept to like follow for me.
I've kind of been wondering what they would do after the murder, because something needs to happen to have an end to the chapter, probably with him dying again.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me.
But I guess now they completely like throw it around and get something.
Or is he, by doing these things, becoming Satoshi? Because that also seems to be a thing.
Why do we keep going back to that?
Well, clearly reality as we experience it doesn't exist anymore, potentially.
I mean, there's a difference at least. Now, not everyone is Satoshi. We're becoming Satoshi.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Listen, Tifa. If I suddenly had curly hair, and I looked like you, and I sounded like you, and I talked like you, and I did the things you do, would I be Tifa?
No.
Why not?
Because you're just copying me.
Yeah, but who? The universe can only handle one Tifa. No, but...
I think the world would get sucked into itself if suddenly there's a second end.
Real quick, once again, because I love the concept from a design perspective, I need to go into Elder Scrolls again. Spoilers. The Elder Scrolls, Morrowind. Spoilers for the Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind. The game starts with you being a random prisoner, having been released into Morrowind because the king, emperor, whatever, decided to. We don't know why. And you learn that, yeah, welcome to this shithole. Some people here believe in the myth, the legend, that this person from way back then, the Nerevarine, would return at some point and save us all from our doom. But that never happened. So you learn the story of this person somewhat. And you learn different details. Like, oh, the prophecy says if this person got resurrected and would come back in the current day, he would do this task. And you happen to do this task. And you keep doing the things from the prophecy until eventually, if I recall correctly, in lore this concept is called mantling. Your character actually becomes the Nerevarine. Because, and that's the logic in the game, and that's what I was going to. If you do the things this person does to the point where nobody can tell the difference, or in the Elder Scrolls, to the point where even the gods cannot discern you from each other, are you not that person? So
you're still a copy.
What is granted to you as a title at first actually becomes as like, no, you are him. Whether you knew this or not, you have become him, and you can decide for yourself what that means, whether it's just a title or whether that's actually like a fate kind of thing. But what if Keiichi becomes Satoshi through a similar thing? If Keiichi does all the things Satoshi does, I understand the logic of going, well, if I am doing all the Satoshi things, then I am Satoshi.
No, if I do everything you did in a day, I am not suddenly Jack.
It's not about a day.
Yeah, even if this is how identity fraud happens. People study someone, make a copy, act like them, take their passport, and suddenly they're still not them. No.
Oh my god,
no.
Judge, do you know my favorite letters X? It's these two weirdos from the old country, you know, they're streaming from Germany. And this guy said, if I just do it, it's like a prophecy. I'm just mantling, you know? What if God cannot tell us apart? It's not like fraud. I'm not stealing an identity. I'm becoming, call me Mamef 18.
If I shave my head, talk like Jeff Bezos, act like Jeff Bezos, and dress like Jeff Bezos, can I access his bank account? Technically it's mine.
If you commit identity fraud, yes. Please don't do that. Gasp, not spoilers for the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Yes. Too late.
He already spoiled the entire franchise by now.
Not really. But details of it. Reminds me of that bird that went extinct and re-evolved from its original ancestor. It'd be a perfect copy, but not the same thing. I didn't know that happened, but that is amazing. I find that incredible.
Yes, it is. But I agree, it's a perfect copy.
Yeah. And I'm gonna change my name to Jack Eggman and do exactly what you would do and replace you.
Yeah, with your logic, that's perfectly possible.
I mean, it is possible. It's illegal, but it is possible. I mean, we're sitting here making fun of the idea, but hasn't that been like a plot point in a bunch of like spy movies and stuff where people went like, oh, you need to go undercover, you need to go do the thing. So they give them plastic surgery to look like the other person and then act like the other person.
But he's still not the other person, and that's the point.
Have you... I can't say this without spoiling anything.
No, it's fine. I need to start heading to bed. It's gonna be a long and early day tomorrow.
Without spoilers, in one sentence, there is a movie I need to watch.
As always.
And I will not say which one, because then you know spoilers. Jackman Mamef again. At large. Something like that, yeah.
So yeah, so we're gonna be back on Tuesday with Higurashi, and then we will do the whole Satoko bits that Jack's waiting for. And the rest we'll see. Were we playing a second game? No, we weren't. We finished that.
Because of November fast approaching now, thanks to Tifa having to sit out a week of streams, I would say we do our very best to get to the end of Higurashi chapter 3. And then it should be time for November.
That we could do. So full week of Higurashi.
Yes. Then we still have like 2 streams left if we need. I think we will need them. I'm guessing this has like 13 or 14 chapters like the previous one.
Yeah, can do.
I always forget the number.
And otherwise we start November a little earlier.
Maybe.
Sounds good. So next week,
Higurashi.
Full week of Higurashi, we'll get none of the answers.
No, more confusion.
Exactly.
More Jack talking about other video games, trying to make sense of it all. Press the button, Tifa.
I need to sneeze.
Are we actually ending the stream? Or are we not ending the stream?
You said press the button!
I'm not doing the dance. Tifa is. What is real?
Thank you, thank you.